station.
Eagle 98.1 Game Day is on.
Presented by your local Super Chevy dealers and Yingling Flight.
This is LSU football.
Nussmeier, who gets the football out of the shotgun, looks right, looks back left. Now center of the field throws, and this time right on the S and LSU. Touchdown, Fighting Tigers. Third down, goal to go from the 3. The give to Durham again. He gets to the 1. He keeps pushing the pile. Touchdown, Fighting Tigers.
LSU football on Eagle 98.1, the flagship home of the Tigers. Tonight from Tiger Stadium.
It's the LSU Tigers and the Gators. Now, here's Charles Hanagriff and Matt Musso.
From Rouse's corner of Burbank and Lee, welcome to Eagle 98.1 Game Day. I'm Charles Hanagriff along with Matt Musso and our entire staff at the flagship as we get you ready for tonight's game between the LSU Tigers and the Florida Gators. LSU comes in with a record of 2-0. They are opening conference play, as is Florida tonight. Last week, LSU beat Louisiana Tech 23-7. The Tigers are ranked 3rd in the nation by the AP and 4th by the coaches. After an entire offseason spent on emphasizing a big effort in the opener, and considering the opponent in that opener was a top 5 team on the road, LSU was bound to have somewhat of a letdown coming home last week to play an out-of-conference opponent like Louisiana Tech, even though it was the home opener. The Tigers came out with plenty of spirit. They were not flat. However, they weren't terribly focused either. And the win left a lot to be desired on the offensive side of the ball. On the defensive side, however, LSU could not have been any better, not allowing points until the second team had gotten onto the field late in the fourth quarter, and even that required a busted assignment. Tonight, LSU will be going up against a much better team, a much more talented team, and getting the running game going to supplement Garrett Nussmeier, who himself admitted he had an off week last week, will be prime on the minds of the Tiger coaches. So Florida comes in with a record of 1-1. Last week, they were an upset victim to South Florida, 18-16 in the Swamp, despite being an 18-point favorite. Florida fell out of the polls with that loss. For Billy Napier, it is a very, very tenuous time. Not only does Florida have this upset loss on their schedule, but the remaining schedule could not be any more difficult. It is the most difficult schedule of anybody in the country. And Napier, coming into this season, was on a little bit of thin ice to begin with before last season's late surge got Billy Napier back for his 4th year. That surge included a win against LSU in Gainesville, something I'm sure will be on the minds of the Tigers tonight. DJ Lagway, his talented sophomore quarterback, will start tonight. He had a reasonable game against South Florida last week, but Musso, in the offseason, Lagway missed all of spring. He missed a good chunk of the summer, and he missed the first part of camp, and I think you're starting to see some of that rust. Florida comes in a wounded team. They are, again, with the gauntlet that they're looking at after they play LSU, it's ranked team after ranked team, and a lot of them on the road. So they come in, I'm expecting their best effort tonight, but LSU, I think, looks to rebound off of what was, I would call it a little bit of a sluggish performance, but only on one side of the ball last week.
Sluggish is a good word, and you're right. Definitely only on one side of the ball. I mean, they were a blown coverage late in the game with some backups in away from a shutout, and what would that have been, 6 straight quarters of shutout football. The defense has been awesome. I expect them to be awesome again tonight. I think this is going to be a game we've seen plenty this year already, really the first 2 weeks, where your defense dominates. You do enough offensively to kind of get by and win the game, but the most of it's on Blake Baker's group. Braylon Moore, that's going to be intriguing. I'm sure we'll talk about that all throughout the show. He's not 100%, but where is he, and is 85 good enough with him being your best offensive lineman?
LSU and Florida have played every year since 1971. The SEC schedules are slated to change starting next year, so it may be a couple years before the Tigers make it back to Baton Rouge. We've seen some of the most iconic games in the Southeastern Conference between these two teams. And, yes, all the boxes are checked tonight for a unbelievable crowd at the stadium. The weather is good, albeit a little bit hot. The Tigers are good, and the opponent is one that is worthy of getting up for, despite the fact that they lost last week to South Florida. We got a lot planned for you here today as we walk you up to kickoff. Some great games going on, including one we're keeping a real. I say some great games going on. There's a lot of games going on. There's one really close game going on that we are paying close attention to, and that is Clemson against Georgia Tech. Clemson leads it 14-13 late in the third quarter. Somewhat of a referendum on LSU's resume at this point, what Clemson ends up doing today. I think Georgia Tech's pretty good, but Clemson has certainly not dominated. This has been a back-and-forth, nip-and-tuck game the entire way, and probably is going to be decided by less than a touchdown. So we'll keep you up to date on that one. Gordy Rush joins the show when we come back here at Rouse's Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I'm Gabrielle McLeod on behalf of the Louisiana Propane Dealers. I have spent hundreds of hours preparing for scholarship competitions. That preparation paid off when I won the Fitness and Talent Awards along with the title of Miss Louisiana. The Louisiana Propane Dealers are also pretty talented and want you to be prepared for when the power goes out. Visit LouisianaPropane.com to find out about propane generators and other safety tips. Louisiana Propane, it truly is the fuel for our future.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $22,500 off MSRP on the brand new 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie with $22,500 off MSRP with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
River Parish Contractors has immediate openings for structural steel shop fabricators. Call or text Big Jake today at 318-547-1000 or go to rpcontractors.com and
He's got 2 years. He's a multi. No, he's a
Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Skull Session. Offense. Presented by Gulf Coast Bank. Gulf Coast Bank, the bank that cares about you. Now, from the LSU Sports Radio Network, here's Gordy Rush.
A little under 5 hours right now from Rouse's ESPN Bet at LaBear's, your Game Day headquarters. And here at Rouse's, just a short drive over to Tiger Stadium. Come on by. Let them cover your spread, your Game Day spread with all of your beer, your spirits, all of your wine. From the bakery, the chop house, the Mongolian grill, so many of your tailgating items, including all the ice you need here at Rouse's. Gordy, how are you? Good to see you.
I'm doing great, guys. I mean, I'm jealous. Musso has this unbelievable Rouse's here with all this food. I remember back in the days when we started this 25 years ago, whatever it was, and you got hot-boiled seafood right there. I mean, you could get, crawfish boil here.
And you know what they told us the first time we walked in here is help yourself to whatever you want. Boy,
roll out the red carpet.
Music to my
red
ears.
Carpet treatment.
Oh, gosh.
Got in here. Gordy, last week, offensively, we start with that side. It was a little sluggish.
Yes.
I thought from the beginning, Garrett Nussmeier, by his own admission, didn't have his best night. He missed some throws. I thought he was protected for the most part, but there were some reads, some blitz pickups that he missed. I was actually encouraged when we went back and watched the film, and a lot of it was on him because that, honestly, is one of the easiest things to fix. I don't expect him to play like that again.
No, I don't. For me, the biggest thing that really jumped out, and that was that the offensive line struggled in run blocking when they had numbers in the box. Statistically, I think I went back and looked at it. They had 36 rush attempts, right? And that includes sacks and a number. So 36 for like 137, okay? And of that 137, there was a 48-yard run from Thomas, a 43-yard run for Barry in garbage time. So that was 91 of it, and it came something down to like 34 carries for 37 yards afterwards,
106 yards on 3 carries, and the other 31 carries for 22 yards.
Right, and you know, my whole point of that, it was, when I watched the film, too many times in that 3-3 stack, you know, Louisiana Tech, obviously, they were sky high, and they were undersized, and they were quick. You know, the kid from Rummel had a 10. I'm drawing a blank on his name. Kobe Fields had a really good game. And he was just so elusive, and he was the combination offensive line was sluggish. They were sloppy, and they were missing blocks. And because they were able to stop the run game with numbers, they dropped a lot of people in the coverage. And Nussmeier had 7 and 8 in coverage, and you had to throw in the small windows, and he was off, as you mentioned, and it just all kind of snowballed. So I'm with you. Nussmeier's not going to have that same sort of night. My question comes back to, again, is this offensive line playing a very good Florida front, although they're short a couple people, and are you going to be able to run the football when you have to, when you have the proper numbers in the box? You have 6, they got 6, you got to run the ball.
Braylon Moore went out in the first play of the game. How much do you attribute the, I don't want to call it struggles, it wasn't that bad, but the shortcomings last week to his absence?
Yeah, it's hard because I'm not in that offensive line room, and obviously that's the quarterback of the offensive line, and what sort of communication breakdowns they were having, I don't know. But I do know that he was the highest rated offensive lineman in the PFF scores, and I saw there was enough to go around. I'm sure it had something to do with it, and they need him back today, and obviously he's probable, and we'll see what he looks like in pregame warmups. I expect him to play, but yeah, they need him back.
Louisiana Tech plays a 3-3 with basically a shell over the top. Clemson plays almost exclusively 2 deep safeties, and LSU hasn't exactly set the world on fire down the field with either one of those things. So tell me why LSU's not going to see this for every week coming up until they prove that they can attack this a better way.
Yeah, especially that's my point. If Florida feels like they can handle the run with 6 in the box, and they've got Clemson-type defensive linemen, although they get Banks back today. The edge rusher is out with an ankle. He broke his ankle. He's out, and then we just had a defensive lineman that was a game day scratch as of yesterday with all the new rules. You know, they still got dudes up there. I think you're going to continue to see that because the scouting report, if we've been saying it all fall camp, these coaches for Florida have intel, and they know there's a lot of talent out there, right, in the wide receiver. There's 8 wide receivers, now 2 tight ends. I expect Green not to play today. I can't go man and hold my own against those people. I'm going to have to play shell, Musso.
Well, you brought up Green, and that's something I wanted to ask you about because, Gordy, we sat right here last week and talked about their love for a 3 tight end set down in the red zone.
Yeah.
And I think you saw that late in that game when Green was out, they couldn't push forward in garbage time to score that touchdown. What is the adjustment for them there?
You know, this Nick Anderson at 6'3", 6'4", does he give you that sort of matchup down there? I still think Bauer Sharp is a very good receiver. He doesn't have that size, but he's fundamentally sound. He can get separation, especially if he gets a linebacker or safety. But, yeah, I think their go-to package was that quads that we saw against Clemson, 4 wides, and Tredez out to the right, and they went empty off of it. So I'm interested to see. I don't expect to see that today. So what are they going to do different in the red zone?
I'm anxious to see LSU swapping out the Greens. Donovan Green, who's going to take over for Tredez Green, is known as much more of a physical run-blocking tight end. He reminds me of some of the old Les Miles tight ends, you know, these big physical guys. Not nearly the receiving threat that Tredez Green is, but I wonder if that might help a little bit.
Well, I think what happens is Sharp was playing the inline tight end, right, and Green was the flex tight end. Now, Sharp, when they do go 12, 1 running back, 2 tight ends, Sharp will go to that flex tight end, and then Green will go to the inline tight end. And then the other thing about, I like about Donovan Green is that you can put him out in space. You go back to the Clemson game, there was twice that they put Sharp and Green as a package out there with Juwan Johnson. It was a glorified toss sweep. They turned around and flipped it and ran the other way. Look, I think they go back to a lot of what they did against Clemson, right? And ball's coming out quick. We're going to get the ball to playmakers in space, and we got to have the same success running it, and that of course is Durham, and it's the combination of all the athletes, right? How do I get it to Thomas and Jet in creative ways? Anderson is good for a sweep. Barron Brown's good for a counter, reverse type of play. I want to continue those things that you've had success with.
And I'm always, we're always going to scrutinize offensive play calling more than defensive. That's just the nature of fans. But I thought that, and they're always going to get criticized for not being creative enough when things don't work. But I actually thought there were some creative concepts in last week. I mean, from the very first play where they motion Barry Brown out of that star formation and get exactly everything they want, to some of the concepts in the run game that would be considered non-traditional. Gordon, we sat here with the best power run team in the country for 15 years and did nothing but complain about it.
Yes.
It's like, where's my run game? But I think some of these concepts are intriguing.
I think it's the execution of it was a problem. You mentioned Nussmeier had an off day. I've talked about the offensive line. And you had times where the play was right on and you just had one person break it down. Look, I'm with you with the creativity of it, with kind of this, one thing about it. I think now that you've run a lot of personnel groups, a lot of different looks, a lot of creativity, and you've had to call some timeouts and you've had some penalties on illegal alignment. You've had some motion issues. Hopefully you're sharper running your package. It is a diverse package. You got to be sharper running that tonight. I understand week 1 at Clemson, you shot yourself in the foot a couple times in the first half. You got it going in the second half. We mentioned what happened last week. Looking to clean that stuff up tonight against Florida.
We haven't seen Chris Hilton make much of an impact through 2 games, but we know what he can do, and he is healthy. Any chance they're going to see any man coverage tonight?
Well, yeah, I think absolutely. You're going to get some. You can't run all zone on a quarterback like Nussmeier, right? And I think you'll get some chances. My question to me is, where is he on the? We know what Chris Hilton can do. Barron Brown has been the most impressive receiver coming out of fall camp. We've seen the touches. He got the game ball last week, and Hilton and Barron Brown to me kind of play the same spot. They're playing that flanker. They're the guy going down the field and getting that vertical. Hilton's going to get his chance. He's outstanding when he gets there. I think they just got to get him in rhythm. He never looked in rhythm in the Clemson. Of course, they had the fumble in that game. And in order to get in the rhythm, he needs a couple touches. We'll see if tonight's the night they get him some touches.
Well, flip sides of the ball as Georgia Tech has taken the lead 19-14. 2-point conversion coming up here. 10 minutes to go in the game in Atlanta. And this is going to go a long way towards how people feel about LSU. This game, and of course the one LSU is playing here tonight. They run a little reverse end-around pass and for the 2. So 21-14 now Georgia Tech leads Clemson. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even JB could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of JB Falgu.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and First American Bank and Trust bring you the Heart of the Game Award, recognizing student athletes who deliver when it counts. Nominate your game day standout at 1045ESPN.com by the 21st. We'll choose 5 male and 5 female finalists, and then it's up to the fans to vote for the winners. Each winner gets a $250 gift card, a custom award, and the spotlight they've earned. Presented by First American Bank and Trust, a banking tradition since 1910.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Eagle 98.1 Game Day Skull Session Defense, presented by Edward Jones. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Now from the LSU Sports Radio Network, here's Gordy Rush.
Countdown to kickoff. Some 4 hours and 45 minutes. Let ESPN Bet at LeBears be your game day headquarters. Gordy, when I plan these segments, you know, we used to talk about things that LSU needs to work on and some of the things that maybe aren't going as well. I said, well, you know, it's a 10-minute segment. I'm not going to be able to fill 10 minutes. What's wrong with LSU on defense? Because there ain't much right now. It looks real good.
No, they're playing great. I mean, you know, again, what we saw in fall camp is held true, and I think what jumped out at me was just the kids that they brought in were grown men, right? Yeah. I mean, these were 4th and 5th year players, played a lot of football. They brought a way that they practiced, of intensity to the practice field, a physicality that you hadn't seen out there. They were the most vocal guys that were down there and talking about, you know, Pyburn when he was down there. I mean, I had to look up who 88 was first time I saw him. Yeah. I said, who's this guy at 6'1"? Yeah. They can't block him, and he's the most vocal guy. And it just elevated, I think, everything on the defense. And the new guys that came in have really molded well with the older guys. And so now you have a lot of quality in your first 11, and now you've got quantity. You can go 2-3 deep in some spots.
I agree with everything you said. Here's what I like most about this defense. Because of Mansour Delane primarily and 2 or 3 other corners, they can play man-to-man. Right. And they can play sticky man-to-man. Gameday did a great segment this morning where Nick Saban, the godfather of all defensive backs coaches, is breaking down film, and he says, well, here's where Delane's feet should be, and they're right where they need to be, and here's where his shoulders need to be, and here's where this hand needs to be on this jam. And he does everything perfect. And, you know, Saban don't throw around compliments, you know, too lightly. So that man-to-man coverage is allowing Blake Baker to do all kinds of things.
And we know how, I mean, Corey's expertise is man. He was a corner, right? And he handles the cornerbacks. And Blake and his defense finally have the people they need. You know, we saw the midweek move that Mitchell's out. Mitchell really didn't fit what Kyle Williams wanted to do. He's more up the field than Bo Davis, Pete Jenkins. And so, I mean, bring in Goodson, and he's unblockable. And the guys are getting up the field, and they're you know, wreaking havoc, and so they've been excellent. This we said going into the season, you and I did we did a thing at Ruffino's, and we had a couple speaking engagements. I felt like this was going to be a top 3rd SEC, right? This should be a top 3rd defense in the SEC. This should be a top 20 national defense.
They think they filled really well, too. I mean, it's hat on a hat every time. And when you look at their struggles last year against running quarterbacks, I don't think they faced a running quarterback. They faced some mobile guys so far this year. But, I mean, that's a very noticeable change, that they are just right where they're supposed to be. The discipline looks at an all-time high.
Right. Well, you're not reading and reacting. Yeah. You're actually dictating to them, because you're able to get so much penetration. You know, you're 2 and 3 deep on the defensive line, so those guys can give you 3 or 4 good plays, and you can rotate them in, so nobody's gassed. So you've got fresh bodies, and you're able to bring pressure the entire game.
Let's talk about DJ Lagway, the quarterback for Florida. Gordy, watching him last week, he wasn't bad, but he does look like a guy that missed a lot of time in the offseason. You know, he looks a lot like the guy that LSU saw last year. Now, that guy was good enough to beat LSU in Gainesville. I I'm encouraged by the fact that LSU gets to play him in September, because I think when he's got 6 games under his belt, he's going to be a lot better in November, just because of all the time he missed in the offseason. But he is a talent.
He's a phenomenal talent. I went back last year before the LSU-Florida game and watched his high school film. He was from over in Texas in the Woodlands area. Phenomenal. Big RPO guy, right? And the ball, when he's able to set his feet, he's in rhythm. The ball's coming out. He's fantastic. There were too many times he had an off game, no question, against South Florida. He was really inconsistent, and what was encouraging for LSU, his footwork, he really struggled with his footwork when it wasn't an RPO, it wasn't a 3-step, it wasn't something in rhythm. When there were many times when he had to move a step to his left, move a step to his right, he was retreating. His left foot, lead foot, was coming wide open. He's throwing balls across his body. He's not, he missed a wide open tight end for a touchdown on a little bit of a wheel route. He was sporadic, and I'm with you 100%. I think, he has a tremendous upside. Hopefully for LSU, he doesn't get back in rhythm this week. And LSU has played 2 similar quarterbacks that are quarterback-centric offenses, right? He can run. He's going to move his feet a little bit. They face this in Clemson. You don't have to change a thing, really, in your game plan. You do what you've done well, and that should work against Florida.
All right, Dr. Freud, on the couch here for a second. Last year, when Florida looked like they might spiral out of control and Napier might lose his job, they really responded.
Right.
They beat LSU. They beat Ole Miss, knocked Ole Miss out of the playoff, really. And they didn't have a sitting president at the time, still don't, but the athletic director at the time, the thought was, well, he may not want to make a move with his future, I don't want to say in doubt, but now he has a contract extension. We're talking about Scott Strickland.
Right.
So he is going to be there through 2030. They'll work out what they're going to do in the president's chair, but this is Strickland's call. This is the most daunting schedule remaining for anybody in the country, starting today with the University of Florida. So last year the team responded for the coach. How do they respond? I know you don't know. I'm asking you to speculate.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that there are a lot of intangibles here. Obviously, it's a revenge game. You're in Tiger Stadium. It's going to be brutally hot. It's hot in Gainesville. This is a little bit different humidity to me than playing in that stadium a little bit. And then you're coming off of just a game where you imploded against South Florida. It wasn't just Slagway. It was 11 penalties for 103 yards. The deep snapper centered the ball over the punter's head and gave them 2 points. This defense, which is a good defense, is only given up 1 touchdown, right? 1 touchdown on the season. On that play against South Florida, 10 of the 11 guys were looking at the sideline trying to get a play. They snapped the ball, throw it up on a fade on the right side, the defensive left side. The safety and the cornerback collided, knocked each other out, and the receiver basically could have walked into the end zone. And everything that could go wrong, including 2 penalties for 30 yards in the last series, and you had one of your linemen spit in an offensive lineman's face. To me, there's a lack of discipline, which when you look at this isn't a disciplined football team. Where's the leadership that somebody can grab somebody by the you-know-what and say, all right, let's get it together? Who are the leaders going to be that are going to step up and get this team focused for this task, right? All the intangibles I met, and you got to play this defense.
He's going to need a snake charmer and a flute to get out of this season intact. But this is just the beginning part of it. So I'm expecting a big effort from Florida.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think if LSU can get up, it could snowball on them real quickly.
Yeah.
I think there's no question. This is a good football team that played a really crappy game against South Florida, that made the run that they did, blew the doors off of Tulane. Now, granted, Tulane had third-string quarterback in the bowl game. It's hard to look at bowl games and take them seriously. This is a good football team that played very sloppy against an improving South Florida team and still should have won that football game.
Last thing before we let you go, you're watching Georgia Tech and Clemson along with us. Georgia Tech's got a 7-point lead, 21-14, 6.5 minutes to go. Clemson's on a drive here, 1st and 10 in Georgia Tech territory at the 30-yard line. How much of a referendum is this on LSU?
Well, I think LSU's defense is elite. I think what we're finding out is Clemson's offense is not that dynamic. They don't really stretch the football field that well. And as we saw against LSU, they're okay running the ball. When I think of the great Clemson teams, that Dabo's had them, and ATN and whatever, they were dangerous in the run game. You just haven't seen that this year.
All right, Gordy, have a good call. You get good weather again. No.
I like that. Thanks.
We'll take a break. We come back here at Rouse's. We'll talk to Shea Dixon. Big recruiting weekend for LSU. Campus is packed with visitors. We'll talk to Shea when we return here at Rouse's Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
When it comes to pipe fabrication, time is money. And at River Parish Contractors, we make every second count. Our 36,000 square foot shop is ready to take on your projects right now. With experienced welders, precise fittings, and fast turnarounds you can trust. Whether it's a single custom spool or a full-scale run, we have the capacity and the skill to keep your job on schedule. Call us or visit rpcontractors.com for your quote. That's rpcontractors.com.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
We came up with the idea of auctions in August. Gulf Coast Bank does all the work. We display the item, we prominently feature it in social media, on our website, but we do it because it's the right thing to do for the community.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and First American Bank and Trust bring you the Heart of the Game Award, recognizing student athletes who deliver when it counts. Nominate your game day standout at 1045ESPN.com by the 21st. We'll choose 5 male and 5 female finalists, and then it's up to the fans to vote for the winners. Each winner gets a $250 gift card, a custom award, and the spotlight they've
Eagle 98.1 Game Day Scouting Report, presented by Demco, providing safe, reliable, and competitively priced energy services to co-op members since 1938.
About 4.5 hours here. Let ESPN Bet at LaBerge be your game day headquarters. Clemson has scored a touchdown with 3:29 to go to make it 21-20 with the conversion to come. We'll keep you up to date on that game over in Atlanta. Now let's bring in Shea. Good afternoon, Shea.
Charlie, how are you?
I'm doing great. I thought about asking you to list all the visitors today, but it's a 10-minute segment. I don't think you get them all in the allotted time. So let's talk about some specific guys, and then I'll ask you to kind of broaden it out here a little bit. But I want to start with Elijah Haven. I got a feeling we may talk about him a little bit in the next 2 years. Elijah Haven is the #1 player in the country in 27. He's a quarterback here at the Dunham School. He is being recruited by LSU, the Steelers, Browns, and Colts, I think, is his official visit list. Shea, what can you tell us about his recruitment to this point? Because it's going to reach ridiculous levels, I would say, before he finally puts pen to paper.
Yeah, he's a guy, and look, LSU has 2 quarterbacks in Louisiana and a one by the last name of Nussmeier that they're targeting that are all ranked in the top 10 as quarterbacks for next year. So the fever pitch adds extra elements there. But LSU, he's here this weekend for the visit, but he also has visits coming, Charlie. Penn State, Florida, Bama, Georgia, Auburn to close out the fall. So as you said, recruited by sort of the who's who. Obviously heavy on SEC schools. I'll say that look, LSU's been around from the start. He's one of the guys who's had an eye. Look, and you look at all the out-of-state schools. Ironically enough, it's Florida that I think has probably caught his attention the most. But at the same time, Florida's only first season, Charlie, where you tell me if they lose tonight, then, you know, if your son is picking a school right now, Charlie, and he's going through the process, this is that point of the season. At least we're getting close to it where is this staff going to be here or not? And for quarterbacks, that's an even bigger deal. So an interesting kind of subplot storyline to a local five-stars recruitment game. These are two of the teams that have been heavily in it.
There are three monster quarterbacks in that 27 class. If LSU's in pretty good shape to get one of them, okay? How is, and everybody knows who these guys are, so how is that affecting quarterback recruiting for 26?
You know, I don't think it is too much. I think that they've been in a spot with 26 where they were kind of behind the eight ball because of Underwood flipping, and then went with Bo Bentley all the way into the summer. And he committed to OU, and I know they had South Carolina's quarterback commit, Logan Duckworth on campus, and but they're still trying to recruit him. But I think it's probably important where everybody realizes the portal's there. So if you don't get a guy, they were going to look in the portal again. You didn't get Van Buren last year, but you don't want to skip recruiting cycles too often in high school with quarterbacks, even with the portal being so kind of LSU with some Heisman winners in recent years. But that being said, I think that next cycle brings enough in-state talent coupled with Nussmeier in Texas that they wind up taking two, and I'm not sure if it ends up being a big deal to the 2026 quarterback high school-wise or portal if they end up signing one, just given how long guys, you know, they'll skip on a senior year ahead of them and then not make the freshman come in and start right away.
They have wiped the Clemson touchdown off the board after looking at the video review, so they're going to play second down and goal. They're doing a pretty cool thing on this game where they are letting you listen into the replay booth and the officials' conversation. This was something that I think in the XFL, and it's very, very interesting to me, Musso, because I've been watching this game all day. Clemson does punch it in from the one now. This will get them within a point. I think it's interesting to listen to these guys talk their way all the way through the calls and still miss them.
Yeah,
because they've done that twice now. But at least I
do
hear
like the access.
No, I think the access is fantastic, and they're still missing calls. Shay, let's talk about some of the highlights of the visitor list this week. And official or unofficial, do we have anybody on official visits this week?
And no officials, Charlie, and I agree with you. I love this about the ref getting to tune into it, but I saw it happen on mute, so the next time it happened, I made sure to turn it on, and they went to the booth, and the broadcaster, whomever the ref in the booth official just goes, he was short of the goal line, and that's the only view we have.
Yep,
all right,
there it is.
That'll be it. And then the ref goes, well, what about the clock? And then it was almost like, we tell you what to do. Go back out there and call it. So I got the uneventful one. No officials, all unofficial visitors, but boy, are there a lot of them. I've counted. I'm over 20 now, Charlie, if I'm counting up top 100 recruits for this class and next year's class. And there's 5 stars galore in there. Emmanuel Iheanacho, the Oregon offensive tackle commit, number 2 offensive tackle in America, but a top 5 player. He was on an official visit this summer. So was KJ Edwards, A&M's running back commit, who's a top 5 running back, top 50 player consensus by Rivals and everybody else. Both those guys took official visits to LSU, picked other schools. LSU is thought to have come in the runner-up spot, and now they're both back on campus here for the first SEC home game. Edwards making the drive in from Texas, but Iheanacho coming in from the East Coast. He's a kid from the D.C. area. So 2 very notable committed visitors that obviously become playing for him who are on campus today that kind of we get a feel that Charlie few and far between now with this 2026 class. How many more guys do you add, and then how often do you even get them to campus? So pretty big day for that. I'll say the other storyline for me, and I think it's important. As every single commitment LSU has right now is going to be on campus today. In-state and LSU, so kids coming from everywhere from UI to South Florida. So I thought here is that you want to hold on to these guys and not have more flips happen. You need to get them to campus for environments like this one.
Shay, kind of keeping in that same vein with Iheanacho and Edwards, is there anybody else maybe you might look at and go, flip watch for LSU here on campus this week?
You know, they pushed to get Jace Matthews in, who is the number 2 receiver in the country right behind Tristan Keys, who had flipped from LSU to Tennessee. He ended up not coming distance, but he'll come in a later date. So I think when you're talking heavy hitters, Mussos, who are by far the biggest, but I will say that, look, Baker doesn't have a linebacker committed yet in this cycle. And I think that between returning guys in the portal that he said, hey, I want to find one that I really like, and that was J.J. Bush. And I'll tell you, behind the scenes, 48 hours out from his commitment, he had given us quotes, everything about going to LSU. And when it comes time to announce, he actually picked Arkansas. So, and a kid from Alabama, but he's back on campus today as an Arkansas commit. And he's remained Blake Baker's top linebacker target. So that's kind of the third guy of kind of the elite seniors in high school that we're keeping an eye on that committed elsewhere.
Shay, what's coming up after the game on 3?
Well, if this were back in the day, Charlie, I'd buy some extra minutes for my cell phone. Or I guess it'd be after 8 o'clock. I could call anybody. But, we're going to have to call a laundry list of recruits with this one, and even more so if LSU wins, because boy, what an atmosphere that would be. So a lot of coverage, sure, of the game, but much more, I think, leaning towards what the recruits think of the game, which I guess that's what they pay me to do, Charlie. Who cares about the game? I care about the kids and the fans.
All right, Shay, we appreciate it. Enjoy the day, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right, Charlie. Thank you, guys.
We're here at Rouse's corner of Burbank and Lee. Very short drive from here to Tiger Stadium. So if you need tailgating supplies, they want to cover your spread, your tailgating spread, with all of the food and accessories that you need here at Rouse's. We're to the left if you walk into the grocery store, over next to the Mongolian Grill, the Chop House, the Chef's Collection, the fresh items out of the bakery. Of course, all of the wines and spirits that you could ask for, and a huge beer cooler here. They never run out of ice here at Rouse's, so let them as Jimmy says, don't go to your tailgate empty-handed. Right. Stop by here at Rouse's and pick up some supplies on your way into campus. We'll get you up to date on all the scores. They are down to it with a tie score and under 3 minutes to play at Georgia Tech, Clemson and South Carolina. Clemson and Georgia Tech, excuse me. We will keep you up to date on that and all the scores when we return here. Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So, of course, who did we
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. The Epic Paving College Football Scoreboard. Epic Paving, Louisiana's preferred paving vendor.
Very close game that we're watching. Clemson and Georgia Tech. 2-minute warning. They are tied at 21, and Georgia Tech is up near midfield. So we'll keep you up to date on this one throughout the scoreboard. Cade Klubnik has run for a touchdown and thrown for one. Maybe the most encouraging thing for Clemson in this game is that they have gotten a running game going, 175 yards on the ground. Klubnik's been part of that, but it hasn't just been him. This has been a very evenly played game. So we'll let you know how this turns out. 2-minute warning in Atlanta. Now we get to some of the big margins. Number 13, Oklahoma leads Temple 42-3. John Mateer's thrown for 282 yards and a touchdown. Still can't quite figure out what Oklahoma's doing in Philadelphia, but they are blowing out the home Owls here midway through the fourth quarter. Late in the fourth quarter, Nebraska leads Houston Christian 59-7. Maryland leads Towson 44-17. Memphis leads Troy 28-7. They're running out the clock there. Auburn leads South Alabama, number 24 Auburn Tigers 31-15. Auburn over South Alabama. Buffalo has just taken the lead on Kent State 30-28, one of the few close games. Number 25 Missouri leads UL Lafayette 45-10. That is early in the third quarter. Bo Perbula with 2 touchdown passes for the Tigers. Ball State leads New Hampshire 21-14. Delaware leads UConn 7-0. That is just a couple of minutes into that game. Earlier finals today. Number 23 Michigan, no problem with Central Michigan. 63-3 was the final. Bryce Underwood threw for 235 yards and a touchdown. He ran for 114 yards and 2 touchdowns. Number 19, Alabama takes care of Wisconsin 38-14. Badgers without their starting quarterback today, but Alabama wasn't. Ty Simpson threw for 382 yards and 4 touchdowns. Baylor with a 42-7 win over Samford. Looking for a dark horse Heisman candidate. Sawyer Robertson's over 1,000 yards in 3 games. 3 more touchdown passes today. I don't know what Baylor's record is going to be. That might hurt him, but he's putting up some big numbers so far. And today, notwithstanding, they've struggled defensively. He's going to have to put up a lot of offensive numbers.
I mean, they're going to be playing from behind and a lot of shootouts. That's for sure. I mean, it certainly does not look like a Dave Aranda defense over there in Waco.
Not at all. Virginia beat William and Mary 55-16. Number 4, Oregon, in kind of a look-ahead spot at Northwestern. They win this game 34-14. Dante Moore threw for 178 yards and a touchdown. But the big one is next week when they go to State College and play Penn State. Go to Happy Valley for the that's everything. Penn State has essentially played an NFL preseason schedule to this point. They play Villanova today. And even if Villanova makes all their free throws, they're not going to beat Penn State. Okay, so that game is what Oregon's looking ahead to. So I thought they were a little bit sluggish in this game. They were going to win no matter what, but it wasn't one of these blow the doors off the way Oregon has been for the first couple of weeks. Okay. 2:30 kickoffs. We lead it off with Villanova and Penn State. But the big one is in Knoxville. Number 6, Georgia at number 15, Tennessee. Tennessee has not beaten the Bulldogs since 2016. They've got a very good chance to do that today. I think they've got the edge at quarterback. Joey Aguilar, the transfer from Appalachian State, spent about 15 minutes out in Los Angeles. They got him in the Nico trade, and he has played very well through the first couple of weeks. And Georgia, Gunnar Stockton has been okay. A lot of runs. Okay. Just okay. They scored 28 points against Austin Peay last week.
Yeah, and the thing is, Georgia, as an offense, even Gunnar Stockton notwithstanding, still can't establish a running game, which is shocking for Kirby Smart over there. But Tennessee's defense, man, I thought they might take a step back after everything they lost from a year ago. They've looked really good. Now, albeit against Syracuse and was it East Tennessee State or East Tennessee Tech last week or whatever? But that's interesting. I'm kind of with you. I like Tennessee in that game.
Other 2:30 kicks, number 21 Texas Tech hosts Oregon State. USC is at Purdue. USC had a hard time when they had to go halfway across the country last year. We'll see if this year's any better. They had 2 layups to open the season. Barry Odom off to a 2-0 start at Purdue. Norfolk State is at Rutgers. Youngstown State is at Michigan State. Washington State at North Texas. SMU at Missouri State. Pitt is at West Virginia, the backyard brawl. Rich Rodriguez back at West Virginia does not have a great roster. Eli Holstein, the Zachary product, off to a really good start through 2 games. He's thrown 8 touchdowns and only 2 interceptions.
I would have loved to have seen what would have happened last year for Pitt if he didn't get hurt. I mean, they were 7-0 when he went down. And he's picked up right where he left off now that he's healthy again. He's been awesome.
Richmond is at North Carolina. Northwestern State is at Cincinnati, and Cornet Word at UTSA. Morgan State at Toledo. 3 o'clock kick for number 14 Iowa State at Arkansas State. Another one of those odd scheduling quirks. Iowa State going down to Jonesboro. Can you get a direct flight from Ames to Jonesboro?
No, there's no way. There's no way.
3:15 kick on the SEC Network for UTEP at number 7 Texas. 3:30 kickoff, number 18 South Florida at number 5 Miami. The Bulls have the most impressive 2 wins to open the season, beating Boise State and Florida last week. Can they keep it going? Odds makers make them a 17.5-point underdog down in Miami.
Yeah, I think Miami rolls in this one, Hanny. I like Miami's roster a lot. Now, I think we'll see. What really matters for them is what happens in November. But South Florida's not sneaking up on anybody anymore. And are they finally out of gas? That's 2 highly emotional wins for them in back-to-back weeks. I think Miami rolls them.
Liberty is at Bowling Green. That's 4 o'clock kick. Also 4 o'clock kick from Middle Tennessee and Nevada. 5 o'clock kickoff, Alcorn State at Mississippi State. Bulldogs can get to 3-0. They're a 43-point favorite. So a little bit of a surprise. Blake Shapen off to a good start. 4 touchdowns and 1 interception through the first 2 games.
That was an awesome win last week. And that program was so deserving of that moment.
They really thumped them last week against Arizona State. Florida Atlantic's at Florida International. Merrimack at Kennesaw State. Eastern Kentucky at Marshall Monmouth at Charlotte. 6 o'clock kickoff on the Peacock. Ohio University is at number 1 Ohio State. Western Michigan at number 9 Illinois. Arkansas is at number 17 Ole Miss. Does not look like Austin Simmons will play in this game. We hear he's going to dress but play in an emergency situation only. Talon Green is off to a phenomenal start. Limited competition, I get it, for Arkansas. Second year with Bobby Petrino, though. Green is as physically gifted as anybody taking snaps in the league right now. And that second year in Bobby Petrino, he's a dangerous player.
He is a dangerous player. That line's all the way down to 4.5 now in favor of Ole Miss, speaking to Austin Simmons. And look, Sam Pittman is a road dog. He gets those Hogs ready to play, man. Arkansas, upset alert there for sure in Oxford.
Old Dominion is at Virginia Tech. Brent Pry is in a lot of trouble there. He needs this one in a bad way, and probably a lot more besides this. Jacksonville State's at Georgia Southern. Murray State's at Georgia State. App State at Southern Miss. Prairie View at Rice. 6:30 on NBC. Number 16 Texas A&M at number 8 Notre Dame. Speaking of quarterbacks that are off to really hot starts, Marcel Reed has thrown 7 touchdowns against no interceptions, and he's also run 18 times for 105 yards and a touchdown in 2 games. Musso, we saw him basically beat LSU with his feet last year. If he adds the touch that we've seen and the firepower that he's got in these first 2 games, A&M's going to be a load.
They are, and they went out and got him some weapons, man, in the transfer portal. KC Concepcion really stands out there, but this is going to be a tough task going up there to South Bend. Notre Dame coming off a bye, a rare week 2 bye. That's a big ask, but it's Mike Elko's return. He'll have his boys ready to play.
Eastern Michigan is at Kentucky, UMass at Iowa, New Mexico State at La Tech, East Carolina at Coastal Carolina. 6:45 on the SEC Network. Vandy is at number 11 South Carolina. Gamecocks haven't exactly been impressive. Now, we know better than to do comparative opponents, but these teams both have played Virginia Tech. South Carolina won. They were not exactly overly impressive. Vanderbilt was trailing the Hokies in Lane Stadium by 10 points at the half and outscored them 34-0 in the second half.
That's the thing. It's like you don't want to compare opponents, and it's not really – I wouldn't say it's necessarily doing that as much as it was just – that was impressive by Vanderbilt. I like the Doors to go in there and upset South Carolina tonight. I think they get it done outright.
7 o'clock kick for number 20 Utah at Wyoming. Duke is at Tulane. This is the return of Darian Mensah. The Tulane quarterback from a year ago is now at the controls for Duke. He has thrown for 723 yards, 5 touchdowns, and only 1 interception to open the season. And Georgia Tech has just hit a 55-yard field goal at the gun to win it over Clemson, 24-21. It's not really good.
That's not good.
It's not really good.
I could have actually done without seeing that today.
55-yard field goal, and he had plenty of leg on that thing. And Georgia Tech with the win, 24-21, and they ain't going to keep them off the field in Atlanta today. The goalposts are already on the ground. Abilene Christian is at TCU. Navy is at Tulsa. Akron's at UAB. 8:45 kick. Air Force is at Utah State. 9 o'clock kick. Southern University out on the West Coast. They are at Fresno State. 9:30 kick for Minnesota and California. Both of these teams are at 2-0. Have you seen the Cal quarterback?
Yes, I don't know how to say his last name.
Oh, wait a minute. I can help you out here.
Okay. Oh, the tables have turned there. But he's impressive. He's fun to watch.
Jaron Keave Sangapulatelli. Jaron Keave Sangapulatelli.
Sangapulatelli?
Sangapulatelli. There's no N in his last name, but in the Polynesian culture, I learned this week, you can have an N sound without having an N in the name, and that's what he's got. He is a left-handed quarterback with a unusual delivery, so the whole thing doesn't. It looks a little out of sorts, but he gets the ball there. They really like him. He's kind of lit a fire there. That'll be an interesting game at 9:30. Also at 9:30, Boston College is at Stanford. Conference game. Texas State is at Arizona State in the late game. Portland State is at Hawaii. Bows are a 38.5-point favorite for those of you that are staying up late. No TV, though, for that. 24-21, Georgia Tech beats Clemson. We're brought to you by Supreme Rice at SupremeRice.com, supporting our Louisiana farmers since the 1930s. You can come in here to Rouse's and all your AG food stores to pick up Supreme Rice, whether it be the brown, the long grain, the medium grain, the jasmine, or the new parboiled rice. Also, the low glycemic rice for diabetics is available. Supreme Rice, grown, milled, and processed right here in Louisiana. And part of the Climate Smart program, they're promoting water conservation and reducing methane emissions. So pick up Supreme Rice the next time you're making a jambalaya or an etouffee, red beans, white beans, perfect for your tailgating. Supreme Rice and SupremeRice.com. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Businesses like yours are the soul of our community. You deserve someone who'll deliver the internet services you deserve. That's why local businesses rely on Rev Business, 90 years of building connections. Visit us at letsrev.biz.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our DraftKings Sportsbook. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even JB could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of JB Falgu.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team color, team swag, and now your very own website. LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always. No paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net. Powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Scouting Report. Presented by Demco. Providing safe, reliable, and competitively priced energy services to co-op members since 1938.
Welcome back into Eagle 98.1 Game Day, live from the Rouses on Burbank and Lee. We're brought to you by your Super Chevy dealers and Yingling Flight. Continuing to count you down to LSU and Florida Saturday night in Death Valley. Tigers looking to move to 3-0. Florida looking to get back to their winning ways. We will take a look now at the Gators. Drew Fabianich, the executive director of the Panini Senior Bowl, joins us for our scouting report. Drew, another week. How are you?
Good. How are you, Matt? Doing well?
Doing well, man. It's been another really energetic week. People are excited for this one, as always, when LSU and Florida get together, and revenge is on the mind of Tiger fans. The LSU team, not so much. They're focused on their 1-0, but in order to get there, they're going to have to do a lot better against this Gator defense than they did a year ago. Let's start there, and let's start up front. Caleb Banks had a monster game against the Tigers a year ago in the Swamp, a sack, a forced fumble. He was everywhere. He has not played yet this year, but will be back Saturday night to face LSU, his first game of the season. I know y'all have him in the top 300 over at the Senior Bowl. What stands out about the veteran on that Florida defensive line?
Well, you know, he is long, he is strong, he sets the point well. He's got an assortment, you know, in his toolbox as far as pass rush goes. And, you know, for as big as he is, he runs really, really well. Earlier in the year, when I first watched him, I kind of threw out a little, you know, comparison to such and such. And I said, you know, who am I talking about? Because it was like, I compared him to Charles Menahu, you know, out of Texas, that's playing for the Chiefs now. Almost the same body type, the same, you know, play technique. I mean, reminded me a lot of him. And, you know, he's been real successful in the league. And I think this kid will be real successful in the NFL too.
With the injury, I mean, I'm not going to ask you to play doctor. Obviously, that's not your job, right? But lower leg, knowing his skill set, how much does that potentially hamper him in his first game back going up against the LSU offensive line?
Well, it depends, you know, again, whether it was an ankle or whether it was a knee. If it's a knee, it's probably going to restrict him a little bit more. You know, the ankle they can protect a little bit more than they can the knee. So, again, that would hurt him using his legs, you know, as leverage and using his lower strength to hold the point. You know, so, yeah, that could affect him. But I don't think they'd play him if he wasn't ready. And, again, he hasn't played yet this year, and there's probably a reason for it. They're probably letting him heal up. And, you know, again, because when he's healthy, he can be an issue.
Certainly felt like even back when he went down in fall camp, this was the game that they had circled for his return. Just listening to Billy Napier throughout the whole process, it seemed like they had an eye on week 3, and makes sense given his success against LSU a year ago. Another guy on the defensive line coming off the edge that also had a sack against LSU in the Swamp last year is Tyreek Sapp. This guy is a handful coming off the edge. And look, LSU's tackles, they've had their ups and downs so far through 2 weeks.
Yeah, what I like about him is, I mean, he's twitchy. He's got a great first step, got a great get off in his pass rush. You know, he uses his hands well. You know, not a big time speed to power guy, you know, and he's not somebody that's going to, you know, compress the pocket that way, but he can come clean off the edge and clear his hips. I mean, he's done a really, really good job. He's a little bit of a tweener too. I'd be remiss if I didn't say some 3-4 teams naturally look at him as an outside linebacker in a 3-4 because he's athletic enough for that. And again, when he goes to sub, he's going to be playing as a defensive end anyway, in the long yardage situations. But if they're not accounting for him and they're not chipping him every once in a while, there's going to be some issues.
That's what I was going to ask you. Like you mentioned chipping and whatnot. I mean, how does LSU keep him at bay? Because he doesn't seem like the guy you're just going to put your tackle out there on an island against, especially given, Weston Davis, Tyree Adams for LSU, they're still very young. This is only going to be their third start each.
Well, keep the tight end in or chip him, one of the two. At least slow down the rush. You don't necessarily have to keep the tight end in. You could weak release it, out of the sets, but at least get a piece of him to slow him down to help the young guys.
Sticking with the front seven, I know Grayson Howard, linebacker over there at Florida, a guy who maybe isn't featured prominently right now, but somebody y'all have y'all's eye on that, hey, he could make a splash and end up coming out and potentially being at the Senior Bowl.
Yeah, he could. I got close with, him during the recruiting process when I was at Auburn. I know him quite well, spoke with his father a bunch of times, great people. His dad is a police officer, and, kid was raised right. He's physical, he's tough, he can run, good with his hands, with his shed. He's improving his cover skills. Don't be surprised if you hear his name on probably about 10 to 11 tackles, in the game, if they're running the ball or even throwing it.
What's his greatest strength?
Probably just being as big as he is, being able to play in the sub packages, because he's not a throwaway in coverage at all. And, guys like that are normally that long and that big, normally are not as good in space as he is, and he's good in space.
Let's flip sides of the ball, and a name that should be familiar to LSU fans because, well, you saw him a year ago in Tiger Stadium. He was just wearing the blue and gold of UCLA, and that's wide receiver J. Michael Sturdivant. Pretty big transfer get for the Florida Gators, a guy that I know y'all are high on, and one thing that really stands out is the size.
Absolutely, and put it this way, and I'm always going to give a nod to a big receiver that's good in and out of his breaks. Now, he's not going to break you off like a smaller receiver can, just because of his length alone. When you go knee to ankle and just anatomically, it's hard to get in and out of a route sometimes when you're that tall. But he does a good job. He's good down the field. He hasn't been, ultra productive yet, but I see him getting a lot more looks, over the next, 8 or 9 games. Again, I'll tell you flat out. I kind of called Florida out early. I thought they were kind of my sleeper pick of the East. I thought there was no way that they would lose to South Florida, and I bet you that they'll be coming out pretty damn hungry when they roll out into the stadium.
Yeah, that's been something that's been talked about this week as well. Was that potentially the worst possible thing to happen for LSU? Because now you got a team that backs against the wall already in week 3. They're coming in knowing what's on the line. That's certainly been a talking point here as well. Drew, I don't think they expected to lose to South Florida either.
No.
With J. Michael Sturdivant, it's interesting. Anytime I can get a guy like him, where it's been a couple years in a row, he's been mentioned in this segment. I'm always curious. Okay, then what's the next step, right? Because you mentioned he's can potentially break out at any time. Hasn't maybe been as productive, but what is kind of that next step y'all see in a scout's eyes for a guy like J. Michael Sturdivant?
That he's got to be productive. That's the bottom line. Again, you're that big, you're that fast. Show some production, and actually find out why we'll put it this way: if he's not producing, find out why. Because if he can't escape, if he can't, if his separation clicks aren't there, well, that may be a reason why the ball's not being thrown to him. He may be covered. He may not be good enough, but he's got all the traits to do that. And again, he hasn't been very productive yet, but I have a funny feeling that he will. I think it's just going to take a little time. And maybe it's just the timing with, Lagway too. It takes a little bit of time for quarterbacks to be comfortable with new receivers. It does.
And, of course, Lagway, he's still kind of getting into rhythm himself, missed all of spring and most of fall camp in his own right. Talking with Drew Fabianich. He's the executive director of the Panini Senior Bowl, with us via the Hooters hotline. Drew, one more for you here as we kind of get out of it. Do you have a certain matchup you're watching for in this game with LSU and Florida? Maybe a key for the Tigers?
Put it this way, I think there's a lot of matchups that I really want to see in this game, but I think the biggest one is how Garrett will handle the line of scrimmage, whether changing protections, understanding where his hots are. I think that's going to be huge. And if he's successful with that and he has time and, he structures the protections the way they should be, I think they'll be really successful. And I think they got to run the ball. They've got to be able to, increase their, production, in the run game.
Something they've been talking about for what feels like 3 or 4 years at this point. They've shown signs. Can they just get it across the finish line? He is Drew Fabianich, the executive director of the Panini Senior Bowl. You can get him on Twitter at DFabeSB. The Senior Bowl as well at Senior Bowl on Twitter X. They put out some great content all throughout the week. Drew, we appreciate the time. We'll do it again next week.
Well, thank you, man. Appreciate you, brother.
Absolutely. We appreciate you each and every week. All right, we're going to grab a break. Come back on the other side. We will continue to count you down. LSU-Florida, 6:30 kickoff. More next on Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
When it comes to pipe fabrication, time is money. And at River Parish Contractors, we make every second count. Our 36,000 square foot shop is ready to take on your projects right now. With experienced welders, precise fittings, and fast turnarounds you can trust. Whether it's a single custom spool or a full-scale run, we have the capacity and the skill to keep your job on schedule. Call us or visit rpcontractors.com for your quote. That's rpcontractors.com.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. And when you're cooking with clean, affordable propane, you're cooking with gas. In the wintertime, nothing heats a home like Louisiana propane. And when you need hot water, propane's got you covered. Oh, and you won't regret that propane generator when the power goes out. I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and to find more information and to find a propane dealer near you, visit louisianapropane.com.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool.
Eagle 98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. After further review on Game Day, presented by Alpha Customs. Alpha Customs. Be an Alpha. AlphaCustoms.net. After further review is heard weekday afternoons at 3 on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Now from AFR, here's Matt Moscona.
Our LaBerge Casino countdown to kickoff is at 3 hours and 50 minutes. Let ESPN Bet at LaBerge be your game day headquarters. Scone, good afternoon.
Hey, fellas, what's going on?
I'm going to lead off with this. Does Georgia Tech's 24-21 win over Clemson change your opinion of LSU a little, a lot, or not at all?
Not at all. I think Clemson is a really good team, maybe finding itself a bit. I think Georgia Tech is probably criminally underrated. I think Musso and I were talking about that this week. I was a coward and picked Clemson, even though I really like Georgia Tech. I sort of just defaulted to the logo, despite the fact that that's a really tough situation. I think it says more about Georgia Tech and the fact that, Brent Key is a really good coach, and I think that's his 7th ranked win during his time at Georgia Tech. So, listen, I think we all know what LSU is. They're an elite level defensive team. They're a super deep, talented offense that had a quarterback that was the National Player of the Week after that Clemson win, and then scuffled in a letdown spot, and everybody's doubting him now. But I think we all know they got to run the ball better. I don't think my opinion on LSU's changed.
Clemson did find a running game today. They ran for 174 yards, which was, like LSU, one of the things that they were concerned about was getting a running game going, and a running game outside of Cade Klubnik, which they did today, but they come up just short. 55-yard field goal at the gun, in case you missed it. All right, Matt, what were your other big takeaways from LSU's win against Louisiana Tech a week ago?
Man, the defense is great no matter who they play. That's probably the biggest takeaway. You're going to have an opportunity to beat any team on your schedule because your defense is legitimately awesome. I would have loved, like everyone else, to see LSU lean on Tech a little more and have more success running the ball, undeniably. I also look a week ago and I saw Florida lose to South Florida. I saw Clemson struggle at home for a half against Troy. It's a natural letdown spot, so I'm not trying to make too much of it, guys. I mean, we've watched over the years LSU in those spots, in those lazy games that nobody cares about, letdown. I mean, the 2011 team, Hanny, one of the greatest teams we've ever seen. I mean, they were in a dogfight for a half against an FCS team in November. It's just, I just don't take much out of those games because there's nobody's playing at their max capacity, efficiency, give a darn. I mean, as a tangent, I'd rather see LSU in every school never play those games ever again. I'd rather see 12 games that we all care to see. So, I mean, everybody wants to draw these massive conclusions, but this is the weekend, quite honestly, where we're going to confirm or disconfirm all this stuff. You just saw Clemson lose, right? We're going to go watch Arkansas is the best offense in the conference through 2 weeks. Now they got to go to Ole Miss. Let's see how that looks. Vanderbilt was super impressive last week against Virginia Tech. Let's see how they look against South Carolina. People are super high on Rex Specs over at South Carolina. Let's see if he can hang with Vandy coming in after they just pasted Virginia Tech. We're going to find out. We're going to find out this weekend about what the first two, as the sample size grows. This is a big weekend.
Florida in a precarious position, not just because they lost to South Florida, but because this was going to be, these early games were going to be a referendum on Billy Napier. Last year, when Florida was in a bind, they rallied around. They had a very good November. They beat LSU. They beat Ole Miss. They knocked Ole Miss out of the playoffs. Those games were in Gainesville, though. What are you expecting out of Florida tonight?
Well, I think Florida will be motivated to play. There was a story about, Tyreek Sapp going into the locker room after the game last week and said, remember this feeling so it never happens again. I suspect they'll play a really competitive game, similar to what happened, if you remember, in 2017 with LSU. Tigers lost at home to Troy. The next week they went to Gainesville, won 17-16. The big difference, though, from now with Florida and a year ago in November, I mean, a couple of things. First of all, I mean, LSU dominated that game, and they choked it away because of their inability to finish drives. The Ole Miss game that Florida won, Ole Miss had 3 possessions inside the 20 where 3 times Lane Kiffin passed on field goals and decided to go for it on 4th down, running a fat defensive lineman and failed 3 times. Cost them that game. The gigantic difference is the heat on Billy Napier is already on a 1 to 10, it's at an 11. And there's just not enough. There just isn't enough opportunity in the schedule for him to save his job. I mean, even if they manage somehow to win tonight, then they got to play Miami, Texas, Texas A&M. They lose 2 of their next 3, then all the pressure's back on him. It's not going to go well for Napier. I don't even think he's going to make it through this season in Gainesville.
One of the stats that we've looked at that I think is going to come into play tonight is tackles for loss against Florida. They've given up 18 of those through 2 weeks, and this LSU front is an attacking front. They can play man-to-man defense behind it. Is that the biggest advantage that LSU has when you look at individual matchups tonight, is their ability to generate negative plays?
I think that's going to be LSU's biggest advantage the entire season against everybody they play. It's why you went and spent the money you did on Patrick Payton and Jack Pyburn and Jamari Butler and Bernard Gooden, and then you got Perkins back. And, I mean, I'm not breaking news, but like, this is what Blake Baker wants to do. His whole premise defensively, if you gave him, like, one ethos, one overarching thought, it's havoc rate. He'll give up a big play. He'll take some chances and leave himself vulnerable to be able to create the negative play. So, I mean, I fully expect that's going to be LSU's advantage this entire season because that's what Blake Baker wants to do, and he has elite personnel to do it. So, yeah, I'm not expecting much of anything out of Florida's offense. I mean, Florida's opportunity in this game, guys, is if LSU just plays sloppily on offense and gives them short fields and advantages. I mean, that's Florida's opportunity to move the ball and score. I mean, I'm certain Billy Napier wants to muck this up, make it an ugly, low-scoring game, and try to have a chance to win it late on a field goal or something like that.
Scott, I want to take it back to something we kind of talked about on Monday with the LSU offense and maybe doing too much, but I really kind of want to look at that mainly in the running game because that has been a struggle to get going, and the offensive line's had a few issues there and whatnot, but man, it's been receivers, it's been running backs. I mean, you've seen Barry, you've seen Durham. Is that really the area that you look at and go, maybe dial that back a little bit, or, well, wait, that's the receivers where you're having the most success, keep it going?
Well, I think creativity is a good thing. It's funny how play callers always take the brunt of the blame and you know, the lack of creativity, the predictability. I'm like, I actually think it's the other way. I think they're doing too much. And if you want a direct correlation, look at the pre-snap penalties. The times we've watched them have to burn timeouts before a snap, the times where there's been confusion, breaking the huddle, where Nuss is changing the play at the line of scrimmage. If this were the NFL, it would be different. Because in the NFL, there's no limit on practice time or, you know, on-field time, classroom time. I mean, it's their job. In college football, you still have those limits. How many hours a week you can spend on the field in the classroom. So I do think that's creating some of the confusion with this team so far in the early going, is maybe they are trying to do too much. And I do think it might serve just fun in this offense to simplify, rely on a veteran quarterback to get you in the right checks and all the athletes that you have to go try to win some one-on-ones.
Tennessee scores on their opening drive, and nobody's gone through Georgia that easy since Sherman's March to the Sea. I mean, that was easy on the first drive, man. Look, I
like that.
They absolutely went through them like you know what,
good.
through a goose. Scone, what's coming up after the game for you?
Yeah, I'll do a post-game show on my Matt Moscona YouTube channel. But that's it. You know, guys, I have to gain a little more confidence here. Like, I love Georgia Tech, but I went with Clemson. I love Tennessee in this game, but I ultimately picked Georgia. I'm defaulting to these logos, even though my eyes and my intuition tells me a certain way. Like, I'm going to tell you the next one. Like, last week, I picked Vanderbilt. And then the morning of the game, I text Chris Marlowe, and I'm like, hey, switch my pick to Virginia Tech for the graphic. And I was freaking wrong. And, like, now I'm sitting here going, you know what? I love Vanderbilt tonight at South Carolina, but I picked freaking South Carolina. I'm going, you know what? I need to go George Costanza on this thing. I need to just, whatever I think, I just need to go the other way is what I got to do right now.
I split the difference. I really thought Clemson was going to win this game. And the line ducked to 2.5.
It was a short line, yeah. I mean,
I really thought Clemson was going to win the game. And now I did like Tennessee.
I took Tennessee as well.
I'm not – Gunnar Stockton, I think, is limited.
Yeah.
I just don't think.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean,
and Kirby's got his youngest team ever. This was one of the biggest takeaways at BB Day. And by the way, Clemson today, freaking Cade Klubnik throws an interception at the 2, and they missed a field goal. Yeah, I mean, this could have easily been a Clemson win, but that's why Georgia Tech finds ways to win. That's same thing tonight. Like, I'm not big on Rex Specs. South Carolina's offense stinks, and they got a common opponent, and Vanderbilt blew the doors off of them. And here I am picking South Carolina. What's What's wrong? Nobody listen to me. Just don't listen to me.
Careful the distributed property of comparative scores, okay? I like Vanderbilt tonight a little bit too, but we know better. We know better.
We do know better.
We do. Well, not all the time. just when it fits our narrative. That's when we know better. I like Vandy a little bit tonight too, but we'll see. Let's go and enjoy the game, and we'll check in with you afterwards. LSU and Florida.
All right, guys. See you
later. All right, we will take a break. We come back, see what Jimmy thinks about all of this as we are into the first couple of drives of the 2:30 window here at Rouse's, where they want to cover your spread, your game day spread, with all the food, wine, beer, spirits, bakery goods, the Chop House, the Chef's Collection, the Mongolian Grill. Lots of ice, lots of different supplies that you need for your tailgating just right here off campus at Burbank and Lee Rouse's. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Flight by Yingling. Raise the bar.
Parish Construction and Roofing. This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs. From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even JB could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of JB Falgu.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and First American Bank and Trust bring you the Heart of the Game Award, recognizing student athletes who deliver when it counts. Nominate your game day standout at 1045ESPN.com by the 21st. We'll choose 5 male and 5 female finalists, and then it's up to the fans to vote for the winners. Each winner gets a $250 gift card, a custom award, and the spotlight they've earned. Presented by First American Bank and Trust, a banking tradition since 1910.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier.
98.1. Spencer Callahan is the one to see. Call 387-2323. LA 21-12681. Offices in Baton Rouge.
WDGL and HD1 Baton Rouge. Eagle 98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Order locks. Presented by Supreme Rice. Supreme Rice. Grown, milled, processed for generations right here in Louisiana. And we're at the Odd House every Monday. It's red beans and Supreme Rice. Parboiled rice. The Odd Father's personal favorite. Now let's get locked in with Jimmy Ott.
And we return here at Rouse's. Georgia trying to answer Tennessee's opening touchdown is going to play first down and goal from around the 6-yard line here. They are 4.5 minutes into the game in Knoxville. Jimmy, good afternoon. How are you?
Yep, Gunnar Stockton, first down quarterback draw. With his leg, 6-yard touchdown run, sending the extra point, a tie game with 9:58 to go. But he did it with his arm, Charlie, on first down. They took a shot, a little double move, and got to give it to him. He made a really nice throw late and hit the guy in stride for about 40 yards to set up his touchdown. His tying touchdown after Tennessee went 75 yards in about 8 plays.
Yeah, we saw the throw. It was absolutely perfect placement on that. Looks like we may have a high-scoring game today because Tennessee was impressive offensively on their first drive. Jimmy, I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Matt just a minute ago. Does Georgia Tech's win over Clemson change your mind about LSU a little, a lot, or not at all?
A little. The 50-50 game. Clemson got beat at the gun by a good team on the road, and
So that's no crime. They were a little overrated coming in. They're not a top 5 team. I mean, that's obvious right now. They just don't have any running game, and they didn't trust their running game at all. But it fell behind. I thought, they had a big, the second and goal interception at the 5-yard line was huge. I know they got to play later. That kind of, after they stopped George Beck, got, busted for about 70-yard touchdown pass. But, yeah, I still think they're a top 15 team. When it's all said and done, I think that's where Clemson's going to be. My top 15 team, they're not top 5, though, and probably not top 10.
All right, let's talk about some of the other games that are coming up. And South Florida and Miami kicking off here in about a half an hour. South Florida, 2 impressive wins, and they bust into the rankings. Can they make it 3 in a row? And we saw Miami in that season opener against Notre Dame. Carson Beck has looked good. You mentioned on the Daily Show, he looks like he's in better shape. He looked comfortable in that game, led what ended up being a game-winning drive. What kind of chance do you give the Bulls today?
Not much. I mean, it's just tough, man. I mean, it's just a lot invested. That standalone game on opening night on Thursday, and then you go to Swamp and beat those guys. And, a lot of guys in your roster were overlooked by Florida. And you go there and beat them. It wasn't a fluke. Now, Florida could have easily won. South Florida had to get a drive. Of course, it was aided, not totally, different than a drive, but aided by the first foul and 13 penalties over the course of the game. That hurt as well. So South Florida their one touchdown was kind of a, I don't know, reminded me of the Minnesota Saints, blown coverage by the safety in the playoff game, the divisional round years ago. It's just a bad play by the safety by Florida. So. But South Florida also has enough athletes to kind of hang around. And so I hate to be really upset. I think it's going to fall right there, 14, 17, 20, somewhere in that range. But I really don't think Miami. That's a lot, 3 straight weeks by South Florida. I don't expect them to go down there and be competitive for the game. I think it'll be right on the numbers, so I don't like either side.
Tonight, Oxford, Mississippi for Arkansas and Ole Miss. Looks like Austin Simmons, the starting quarterback for Ole Miss, is not going to play, or at the very best maybe be an emergency quarterback tonight for Ole Miss. This line has come down a little bit, and Taylor Green is off to a very good start, Jimmy, for Arkansas. Second year with Bobby Petrino. This will be a big test for him tonight.
Steve Samuel is going to carve out a little bit of a niche as far as being being kind of valuable to handicappers like myself as far as giving injury updates, because don't rely on the coaches to try and participate fully in that injury report. And he reported that he was a game time decision, so I made a call and found like he's not starting, and he will not play unless an emergency situation. Now, what is an emergency situation for Lane Kiffin? I don't know, but he also told me that they like the backup and the kid that finished the game up in Kentucky at the end. So, I don't know, he's a backup for a reason. But still, we'll see about that. And the other thing I talked about Kiffin, though, if you're going to break in a quarterback in the emergency starts as far as the backup, let it be at home. Because Simmons struggled in his first true road start in a hostile environment with two first-quarter interceptions. They put them behind the 8 ball. They still could have easily covered, but in Taylor Green, Charlie, Alabama, A&M, and Arkansas State. So it's good, but who's it against? So I think I just watch Tennessee, another touchdown pass. Aguilar will throw it. There's a flag on the play, but about a 70-yard touchdown pass. We'll see if it stands. And I think it might, but I'll stay with you. But anyway, Green gives him a chance. And second, look, he might be a big dirtbag, but, man, he can coach offensive football in college. But Bobby Petrino's second year with Green at Arkansas, he's got a chance to make that turn, The touchdown will be uphill for Chris Mizzell from 72 yards out of Tennessee.
The backup for Ole Miss is a senior named Trinidad Chambliss. He finished the game last week. He's more of a runner than a thrower. He's a transfer from Fresno State, but even though he's a senior, he has not played until this season. He did play a little bit in the opener against Georgia State before getting back in that game last week. All right, Jimmy, the game in South Bend tonight, Texas A&M. Marcel Reed, speaking of quarterbacks, off to an excellent start, has come out of the gate really strong here. Aggies a little bit under a touchdown underdog here, and Notre Dame is coming off the off week after the season opening loss to Miami.
Kind of like the points here, but you know what I think about Marcel Reed. I see some nice throws. It's not just against inferior competition, but a tightly contested throws. On throws where he has had to extend the play with his legs, but still trust his arm to kind of extend a passing opportunity instead of just sucking it and running. So far, Marcel Reed, and he's throwing with touch and accuracy, Charlie. He may have a chance. A little payback maybe for Texas A&M. I expect a really close game tonight in South Bend. I would take a 6.5.
And then finally, I'll ask you about the game. I know you're down in New Orleans. We'll be doing Football Sunday down there tomorrow. Duke and Tulane at Yulman Stadium. This is the return of Darian Mensah, the freshman quarterback at Tulane a year ago, is now at Duke. He is also off to a very good start, although his team last week against Illinois, the turnover bug really got them, and Illinois got away from them with the 5 turnovers. Not expecting that tonight. And Tulane's a small favorite here, but only about 1.5 points, so we're expecting a close one.
Yeah, I expect a close one. Pretty damn good matchup, huh? I mean, Willie Fritz is really good. We saw that again last night. He's improved to 3-0. We knew he would be better in year 2 and 3 years. And he set up the Tulane program. And you know what? Summerall's a young guy with some energy. Charlie, we know about this more than ever. These head coaches, whether it's college football, basketball, baseball, they got to hustle. And he does. He does. You lose a guy like Mensah, and man, as soon as Red Flag became available, he jumped on it and got him. So, Tulane got some momentum. You can talk to some of my old hotel contacts down here. They're bringing people from out of town, the Tulane games down here into the Crescent City. But they will have a little extra in the tank for Mensah. He still left the program. Not the only one. Here's a return to kickoff for a touchdown in Waco for Auburn, playing defensive back Eastern Tulane. Makai Hughes, the leading rusher for Oregon. He's from Tulane. But they'll have a little something extra in the tank. But I think the most misleading score of any last week's college football was Illinois and Duke. Illinois was the better team. They won, but not by that margin. 5-0 turnover margin and a failed 4th-down attempt for Duke. 6-0 in turnovers or turnovers on downs. So I think that Duke is going to bounce back tonight and win a close one at Yulman Stadium in uptown New Orleans.
All right, I will see you tomorrow for Football Sunday at Caesars Sportsbook for the first time downtown New Orleans. Tell everybody about who's bringing us Otter Locks.
Oh, it's the Poor Bowl Rice, baby. It's the supreme shout-out, man. You throw some shots, you find that Poor Bowl Rice. It's my favorite. It's a long-grain rice, firm. It's really restaurant-quality rice when you put it in your boiler or your steamer at home. So I love it. And get all the enrichments from the brown rice as well. So every Monday, baby, lima beans, red beans, white beans, ham bones, pork chops, fried chicken. It's at the Odd House every Monday. It's a tradition for South Louisiana. Eat your beans and rice on Sunday. And only the Poor Bowl Rice from Supreme Rice.
Thanks, Jimmy. We'll see you tomorrow for Football Sunday.
See you then.
All right, as he said, Tennessee with another touchdown, another quick touchdown.
Man.
225 yards of total offense for these two teams in a little over 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's been fast and furious. I mean, the big plays, especially through the air, I mean, that's what's standing out. From Gunnar Stockton, I mean, that first pass was beautiful. He dropped it in a bucket.
He did. Tennessee leads at 14-7. Like I said, we're not even 6 minutes into this game yet.
You know what this reminds me of, Hanny? And I meant to bring this up when we were talking about it earlier. Going into this game with Tennessee, it felt very much like going into that 2022 game against Alabama for them.
I said that on Friday, yeah.
Like where Georgia, they're not what they were. Tennessee's got a good team. Like, it feels like this is the time. And they've come out like that, just like they did in that game against Alabama in 2022.
You remember the final score?
I don't. I just know Tennessee won and covered.
52-49.
Yeah, well.
We're on our way.
Yeah, and the field goal that Bama missed at the end of it was just wild.
And the field goal that Tennessee
made,
hit, and then they haul a goalpost.
To the river. Yeah,
it's got a similar. I think it was more than 8 in a row that they had lost to Alabama at that point.
Until 2006 was the last time they beat Alabama.
Okay, so it was six.
Yeah,
doubled. Yeah, I feel like this early. Okay, and obviously there's a lot of fireworks we can see in this thing, but Tennessee looking pretty sharp early. We'll take a break. We'll hear from the guys on OTB when we return here at Rouse's. Our LeBears countdown to kickoff, about 3 hours and 30 minutes. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. Propane water heaters are very cost efficient, and the savings are even greater with a tankless propane water heater. We all know that Louisiana propane is a safe and environmentally friendly fuel. So why not go green while you save some green? I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and for more information, visit louisianapropane.com.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. It's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Off the bench on Game Day. Presented by Shell. Shell is the rhythm of Louisiana. Off the Bench is heard weekday mornings at 7 on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Now from OTB, here's Jacob Hester and Matt Flynn.
Getting ready for LSU-Florida coming to town this year. Always a very exciting game. But, of course, when LSU is the #3 team in the country, it's always going to heighten it just a little bit. And, again, you can't worry about Florida losing to South Florida last week, man. This is a very, very important game, certainly for LSU. You get this one, and then you get an FCS opponent coming into your building, so you get another opportunity to continue to develop, continue to get better. And as we all know, once the SEC play starts and you don't have these non-conference games, what kind of work that is going to be. But this one right here, you got a revenge factor, you got a I hate you factor. You've got a chance for Tiger Stadium to kind of show out a little bit. And Brian Kelly, obviously, this week, he kind of challenged every fan. He challenged them, hey, this is the best place in the country. That's what our resume says, but we need to go show that to everybody. Like, let's make it unbearable for the Florida Gators.
The fans are there for a reason, and that is to make it hard on the opponent. That is the reason why it's called Death Valley. Is because we go out there for a purpose, and we go out there and make it hard for the opposing team, and we get loud because the louder it is, the harder it is. So we got our warm-up in.
Yeah.
Now it's time to stretch a little bit, do some calisthenics. Get ready because this is game day for every single person that has a ticket that's going to scan that ticket, walk in, find your seat, and once you find your seat, lock in. And I want you to be there from the moment they walk out in those stupid uniforms, those ugly colors.
And they probably try to stomp on the eye of the tiger because that's who they are.
That's right. And they're all in a line, and they're right over left, ready stretch, and they clap, and they're stretching out on the line. They have their pregame warm up. That is when we got to start. And then from then on, it's 4 hours of hell.
Yeah.
It's 4 hours of giving it everything you got. When you go to work on Monday, I want you to not have a voice. I don't want you to be able to do, if you're a talker, I don't want you to be able to do your job very well on Monday.
Wait, what about us?
Well, us, yeah, I don't know, maybe.
Well,
I might be a little hoarse, so you have to talk. You can't yell.
Yeah, I'd love for you to be hoarse. That means that you did your part.
I am. I'm going to be. My kids, I'll be disappointed in them. They will get grounded if they're not yelling.
With Florida losing last week, do you think that, like, does that change like your thought process?
I
Like,
wanted them to win.
Like, I know. Are you? Is that a worry for you? I'm not talking about the coaches, but like just 18 to 22-year-olds, and they see them lose to South Florida.
Yep.
Now South Florida's got 2 ranked wins. Nobody else in the country has that.
Mm-hmm. It makes me. Does it make me worried? No, because I know that we have a really good coaching staff that's going to do everything, do all the right things to get a team ready. The only thing that, so we want a big matchup as a fan base. We want a big matchup, like Florida coming in early in the season. It's usually, this game is a big game. It's usually not this early, and you would have expected both teams to come in. After LSU beat Clemson, you would expect both teams to come in undefeated. But they're not, and the only thing that would worry me a little bit, like if Florida took care of business, and DJ Lagway had been looking really good, and they had won a lot to a little against South Florida. There's nothing that a coach needs to say to an LSU team when that happens. Now, you just said it, 18 to 22-year-olds. There's a subconscious in there. Every one of us has it that you can't control. There's an energy about you that comes along. We talked about it last week. It's just impossible to get as intense subconsciously for a Louisiana Tech than it was at Clemson. That's just human nature. Like, you can say all the right things. You can do all the right things. You can do the exact same steps as you did the week before in preparation. Yeah. There's just something innate in you that is it just comes. Like we said, the feel of the air around Tiger Stadium is different this week than it was last week. Now, if a team just has struggled versus on paper a lesser opponent like they are now, I think maybe the subconscious takes over a little bit.
Yeah.
But you can overcome that because it's Florida, because of the recent loss that you took last night. Like, there's still right. But there might have to be the coaches kind of have to probably point you in the right direction. They got to say the right things. The coaches talk is as a premium this week. If they would have taken him out, if Florida would have won like they should have in commanding fashion, and it was both two teams at 2-0,
it would have been.
There's nothing they need to say.
It would have been probably number 3 versus number 11, maybe even number 10. It might have been. Game Day might have been here.
Yep. There's no words that Brian Kelly needs to say. Right. But now you got to coach a little bit more. You got to speak. You have to motivate. Yeah. Be like, I don't care. You got to say, I don't care about the game. Get South Florida, throw it out the tape. That's not the Florida Gators. They're a talented team. Right. You have to convince your team that they are.
I still so. I know that's been a long time, since obviously we played Florida. We hate Florida, but you talk to people that played before us, they hate Florida. You talk to people that played after us, they hate Florida. I still think this group of players has the same feeling towards Florida as most of us do.
You think so?
Like, you go back and you watch, what was that, 2023? Like, with Jaden's Heisman game. Like, Jaden won the Heisman against Florida.
That was his moment?
Yeah, I thought so. I mean, he had an 85-yard run where nobody could catch him. Like, that group hated Florida. So, like, when we start talking about permanent opponents and we start talking about, like, who's LSU's rival, and, like, I understand, like, what the Alabama game is, and it's a cash cow. I get all of that. And for a long time, it's like it was the best of the best, like, the most NFL people in the field. I get all of that. But, like, you talk about just on, like, I hate you, you hate me, let's go fight for 60 minutes and give everything that we have because I can't stand your colors. There's something about your face. Like, that's been Florida for, like, a large group of LSU players, and I still think inside that building, that's still the same feeling.
Yep. Like, after the game, we'll meet in the middle of and I'll shake your hand, but because I have to kind of situation. Not because I, like, respect or, like, I want to. But it's, like, it's just the common courtesy. You meet on the field, and I shake your hand. Like a lot of opponents, you're like, man, y'all played great, man. What a great game. I feel like the Florida game is kind of like, I'm going to shake your hand because cameras are on. That's about it. Were you ever like that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Are you ever like that after a flag football game?
After a flag football game? No, not really. I mean, maybe the referee or something. I might be like, you need to go like to the corner over there.
But
You need to take a hike. No, flag football game. No,
I'm just kidding.
No, I'll shake their hands. Like, flag football games, you kind of forget about it. Like once you start eating dinner, as you get home, you know.
Or you get in it.
A Florida loss, you don't forget that.
Or you get it, it's like, yeah, you took a loss or something, and first thing that is said in the car, what's for dinner?
Yeah.
Like, next.
Yeah.
Next thing in life.
Yeah. Not Florida.
Not Florida.
No. It's like, can I just go straight to the locker room and not have to say anything to these people?
Yep. After the 07 game, and we win, and I run to the field, and I go, and I see Tebow. And Tebow was emotional, of course. It was an emotional game. And, I knew that he had put everything he had into it.
Yeah.
And, you don't feel bad for that, but, like, you respect that effort. But there was also a pretty deep sense of joy as well to see the Gators hurting.
Yeah.
A big sense of joy. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Every bit of it.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $22,500 off MSRP on the brand new 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie with $22,500 off MSRP with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The First time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
Mornings with Brian Haldane is the only live and local talk show in the capital city. Get the news from the newsmakers, along with traffic and weather updates throughout the morning. The conversation starts with
Eagle 98.1. On Game Day, the dependable Storage College Football Scoreboard. Dependable Storage. Let us store your stuff. DependableStorage.com.
We start in Knoxville, where Georgia has run into a buzzsaw. It's 21-7 Tennessee with 3.5 minutes to go in the first quarter. The Vols have already piled up over 200 yards of total offense in less than 12 minutes. Joey Aguilar has thrown for over 200 yards by himself. They really haven't run the ball all that much, but they have gone through Georgia like nobody's business. And Musso, outside of, it was a nice opening drive for Georgia, but this has been all Tennessee.
It has been. So we talked about earlier in our first scoreboard segment about Tennessee's defense. I mean, man, they lost a lot last year, but that unit has really stood up. And if Georgia's only running game is going to be Gunnar Stockton, that's just not going to withstand in Neyland Stadium. But offensively, I mean, Joey Aguilar, have yourself a day. I mean, there's no resistance at all from the red and black.
In 12 minutes.
Yeah.
Penn State leads Villanova 10-0 in the second quarter. Number 2 ranked Nittany Lions will see Oregon next week when they finally play a game. 21 ranked Texas Tech and Oregon State are in a rain delay. Number 14 Iowa State and Arkansas State are 5 minutes in. They are scoreless, as are Texas and UTEP. That is about 3 minutes in the first quarter. Moving ahead. Third quarter scores: Ball State leads New Hampshire 34-21. Delaware leads UConn 28-24. Purdue and USC are also in a rain delay. Rutgers leads Norfolk State 13-0. USC and Purdue never started. They're in a rain delay. Rutgers leads Norfolk State 13-0 in the second quarter. Michigan State leads Youngstown State 7-3 in the second quarter. Other second quarter scores: North Texas leads Washington State 14-3. Missouri State leads SMU 10-0. A little bit of an early surprise. Backyard brawl: the underdog West Virginia, the home team, leading 7-0. North Carolina leads Richmond 20-0. Cincinnati leads Northwestern State 35-0. That's in the second quarter. UTSA leading Incarnate Word 10-0. Toledo leading Morgan State 18-0. Iowa State and Arkansas State. Okay, that game is underway. Iowa State leads at 3-0 in the first quarter. This is going to be known as blowout Saturday.
That's what it looks
we've
like.
had precious few close games here. Earlier finals: number 4 Oregon beat Northwestern 34-14. They get ready for the big showdown against Penn State next week. Number 12 Clemson falls. Georgia Tech beats them 24-21 on a 55-yard field goal on the last play of the game for Tech to go to 3-0, and for LSU, their signature win is losing some luster. Clemson now 1-2 on the season. Haynes King threw for 216 yards and ran for another 103 and a touchdown. Number 13 Oklahoma, impressive in what could have been a letdown spot, a sandwich spot in between two big games. They go up to Philadelphia and beat Temple 42-3. John Mateer throws for 282 yards and a touchdown. Number 19 Alabama, no problem with Wisconsin, 38-14 there. Ty Simpson threw 4 touchdown passes for the Tide. Number 23 Michigan beat Central Michigan 63-3. Bryce Underwood threw for 235 yards and a touchdown and ran for 114 yards and 2 scores. Number 24 Auburn goes to 3-0. They beat South Alabama 31-15. Jeremiah Cobb, 119 yards and a touchdown on the ground for the Tigers. More Tigers. Number 25, Missouri beat UL Lafayette 52-10. Bo Perbula threw a couple of touchdown passes for those Tigers. Nebraska beat Houston Christian 59-7. Maryland over Towson State 44-17. Virginia beat William and Mary 55-16. Baylor over Samford 42-7. Memphis beat Troy 28-7. That doesn't really help either, does it? Troy's 1-2.
Yeah, no, that doesn't.
I don't know if Clemson
Transitive
is.
property.
I still think Clemson is a good team, but
yeah,
there's a lot of evidence that's pointing to maybe they're not.
Yeah.
At least they're not as good as we thought they were 2 weeks ago.
Offensively, they are not nearly as good as everybody made them out to be.
Buffalo beat Kent State 31-28, and a couple of scores. I want to give you these from last night. Indiana beat Indiana State 73-0. Syracuse beat Colgate 66-24. The three that were interesting. Houston beat Colorado 36-20. You know who's quarterback in Houston now?
I do, Connor Wigman.
Yeah, what team is this? 5?
Oh,
4 or 5? It's just quite a lot. He had a nice game last night for Willie Fritz. Arizona beat Kansas State 23-17. Kansas State Wildcats now 1-3 on the season. Noah Fertitta, Fafita. Thank you. Well, he had a good game.
He did.
And New Mexico beat UCLA 35-10. Was really the score I wanted to get to before New Mexico pulled away 21 points unanswered in the fourth quarter to beat UCLA 35-10 and dropped the Bruins to 0-3.
And they made $1.5 million last night by doing that.
Good
Actually,
work.
just by showing up.
Good work if you can get it. We are here at Rouse's where they want to cover your game day spread. Come on by and check out huge selection of beer, wine, and spirits. All the food that you need here. Bakery, the Chop House, the Chef's Collection, the Mongolian Grill, etc. Tons of ice and all of your tailgating supplies here at Rouse's. We'll hear from Sean Kelly, the voice of the Gators, when we return. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve.
The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even JB could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides.
Eagle 98.1 Game Day, presented by Super Chevy and Yingling. Opposing media.
Man who might just be wearing purple and gold underwear and socks in the press box on Saturday night. I don't know. Sean Kelly, the voice of the Gators, good enough to join us for a couple of minutes here. Hey, man, how are you?
I'm good. The only thing purple and gold was the money that I spent for that university of my daughter's education.
I love it so much. Okay, let me just start with a vibe check, man. Everybody knows what happened last week. The big question is, how do they bounce back? Kids are resilient and all that stuff. What's it been like around the program this week?
The Gators are terrible. They'll never win another game again. Billy Napier should be sent off into another country. What else? No, that's about it. That's how it felt.
Oh, man. What about with the team, though? The team, the coaches. Fan reaction is going to be what it is. But what about, internally there?
Frustration initially, kind of, down on themselves. But then I started to sense exactly what I felt last year when they kind of turned their season around. So a lot of those same names and faces are involved. And so there's been a progressive galvanization, if you will, kind of felt in the building as we've gone about the week. They know what lies in front of them. They all know who else is who on their schedule and everything else. But I think they're leaning a little bit on what they did last year, which was get it turned around, get it fixed.
Sean, of course, it's going to start with DJ Lagway playing like the immense talent that he is. Can you kind of give us some context here, Sean, on Lagway and maybe how far behind he was whenever he first stepped on the practice field about 3 weeks ago after the injury?
Yeah, I just think like anybody else, if you're that limited in the offseason and your whole offseason is spent on a throwing program for the shoulder, or you're trying to get over a sports hernia surgery, or you've got a pulled calf muscle come summertime, and you don't even get really your full go, you're ready to roll till 9 days before the opener, I think you're probably going to feel a little clunky. And I think that's shown in his play a little bit. And let's be real, he's played 6 quarters of football. And heck, in quarter number 1 last week, they played 1 offensive series. So there hasn't been a whole lot of time on task. And I have noticed here with Lagway, kind of like with the freshman Vernell Brown, there's these unique talents, these guys that have this ability to be better the very next day. So every practice now, he shows, in Lagway's case, more to be like himself, more to what we witnessed in flashes last year.
Sean Kelly's with us, the voice of the Gators. What's the strength of that offense this year, Sean?
It's a question that I could have answered very well for you 2 weeks ago, and now I need to see more. But the strength of the offense was what was around Lagway. Experienced offensive line, All-American at center, 4 returning starters, all this speed and talent at wide receiver, and then this running back room that seems to have this endless depth. And so I felt like it was an offense that was going to score, not at will, and not like LSU 2 years ago, but be very effective, especially with Lagway at the controls. So now, with Lagway being kind of behind a little bit and the offensive line not quite showing what I thought they were initially, there's still question marks. Those start to get answered against big competition this week.
Yeah, the big competition on that LSU defense has been really impressive, man. But I think the question here, Sean, that everybody's asking is when you flip that matchup, right? Because LSU dominated the yardstick a year ago. 42 minutes time of possession, the whole deal. They couldn't finish drives because that Florida defensive line just wrecked stuff. 7 sacks, 11 TFLs, the whole bit. When you look at that matchup with who's back and who's gone from that team a year ago, how much does that defensive front from Florida resemble what LSU faced a year ago in the Swamp?
It actually is probably better than what they faced a year ago, in the fact that I think the edge is a really strong position right now for Florida, and that's led by Tyreek Sapp They've got this freak freshman named Jaden Woods. They've got another guy that's not buying his shirts off the rack named Kofi Asar. The linebackers have been very solid. And now, here this week, the Gators get back Caleb Banks, who projects to be a first or second rounder at defensive tackle, and he was a part of that mess that Florida made of LSU's offensive line last year. So, with that being said, LSU's line is awfully different than a year ago, too. And I have questions about LSU's center this week, as does everybody.
Yeah.
And they've had some problems running the football a little bit. We'll see. I think that probably you've hit on the biggest question mark going into the weekend.
I don't think there's any doubt. If LSU can keep Garrett Nussmeier upright, it could be a one-sided affair, but that's a big if. What about Florida in the secondary? Because LSU has this shocker. LSU has good receivers. But this might be as deep a room, Sean, of really good receivers as I've covered at LSU. They probably got 7 guys that are interchangeable that could at any point be your number one guy.
Yeah, and they can hurt you in different ways too, right? So not only can they take the top off, but I just think with Nussmeier, his intermediate game is going to be more effective this season with this particular group. And sure enough, they're using receivers in different kind of run packages and just different ways to find them the ball. At least that's what I've been able to try and discern through 2 games. Defensively for the Gators in the secondary, Jordan Castell, free safety, will make his 26th consecutive start. And so Gators fans have had to watch him go through the growing pains of starting right away his freshman year. He and Bryce Thornton together now have been through so many games together that experience is starting to pay off. And the corners are healthy, which was not the case a big chunk of the last 2 years. So Dede Johnson at one corner, Devin Moore at the other. And then here's Cormani McClain. What a story this kid is. Lakeland guy, 5-star, goes to play for Sanders at Colorado, doesn't work out, and he comes back home, if you will, as a preferred walk-on to see if he can get back right. And he played a little bit before getting hurt last year and then makes this monster offseason step. So he's a better tackler, he knows the game more, and then all the things that everybody was excited about when he came out of high school, they're already there. So I feel like the Gators are better equipped, but how equipped can you be when you face that LSU wide receiver room? It's interesting, and it goes back to what you just talked about. Will Nussmeier have enough time to make sure his receivers hurt the Gators? And does the defensive front of Florida make sure they don't leave their secondary out to dry against those guys?
Sean, I got 2 more things for you. Your time much appreciated. The voice of the Gator, Sean Kelly's with us. Special teams, if it is a close game, the third phase could obviously be huge. How are the Gators there?
Steady. Obviously, last week was weird. The best long snapper in the country, the Manley Award winner, sends one through the back of the end zone. It was on this stack of stuff last week that I just couldn't believe what I was watching. But for the most part, they're pretty good. Trey Smack has got a new holder in the new punter and Tommy Bowman, who transferred from Michigan. He can bomb it, and Smack's good from about 58 on in. Billy Napier said it yesterday. He thinks special teams this week, they're always important, but maybe even an extra tick this week. And after talking to Florida's special teams coordinator today, there's a ton of respect for what LSU does special teams-wise, too.
Sean, before you go, we've tap danced around this a bit, but if there's a blueprint for Billy Napier to come in and get what might be the most significant win of his time at Florida, considering all things, I don't know that that's an exaggeration. I don't think that's hyperbole if they were to get it this weekend. What does that blueprint look like?
First of all, it's not an exaggeration. It would be the signature road win that he has been searching for, especially in that place, especially due to the fact that Florida has not won there at night since 2009. Think about that for a second. Wow. The blueprint is this. It's control the line of scrimmage, and DJ Lagway has got to have a coming back out party. I mean, he's had some coming out parties, but he's got to look the way he did on the road at Tennessee last year when he almost came off the bench and beat him at Rocky Top. So I think that's the blueprint, really. It's the line of scrimmage, and Lagway's got to have a much better day than he's had in these first 6 quarters he's played this year.
He is Sean Kelly. It's always great to hear your voice, man. It's great to catch up. We appreciate the time. Have a great call on Saturday night.
Thank you. Good to be back. I will look forward to my visit.
All right, man. We'll see you soon.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. It's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Talkin' Tigers. Presented by Lake Urgent Care. Lake Urgent Care. With 14 locations, caring for communities near you and always available at lakeurgentcare.com. Talkin' Tigers. Quarterback Garrett Nussmeier.
I think we're still kind of growing into our identity, and trying to work out the kinks. So I think that, it was a learning experience for us, and obviously, it's great when you can learn from a win, So just trying to get better going into this week.
Linebacker Whit Weeks.
I think it's all the buy-in from the guys. We got a lot more than 11 dudes who are playing really good defense right now. So I really think it's just the buy-in. We're all buying into Coach Baker's culture, flying around, having fun, making havoc plays.
Safety Jordan Gilbert.
I'd probably say the chemistry with all the guys, building camaraderie just among each other. And like I said, understanding that this year too, more confidence in what I'm doing, more confidence in the defense, and understanding that plays need to be made, and I know where to be to make those plays.
Wide receiver Xavion Thomas.
It's fun just being moved around all over the offense, being a weapon, and just doing what I could for us to win a game. That's all I worry about. So it's fun, man. I ain't complaining. I love it.
Quarterback Garrett Nussmeier.
I think it's more of just we're continuing to work and kind of show who we are. I don't know that I necessarily want to put a label on what we are. I think that, we'd rather just do the talking on the field, and you guys can label us whatever you'd like, I think that's kind of our mindset. And so just correcting the mistakes, and as I said, it's a great opportunity to be able to learn from a win.
Linebacker Whit Weeks.
I think our mindset is, just like Coach Kelly will tell y'all, is just go 1-0 every single day. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So we're not worried about the past, what happened in the past. We're just worried about where our feet are right now.
Safety Jordan Gilbert.
Understanding that he's mature, understanding that this is year 2 in his offense as well, so he's also confident in what he's doing. Just understanding that he's talented, so you got to be honest and play him the best way we know how to.
Wide receiver Xavion Thomas.
I mean, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. We not really focused on last year, but us just having the confidence and the ability to go out there and be the best players we could be, and ultimately coming out with the win. That's our main focus.
Quarterback Garrett Nussmeier.
I'm not a big fan of the Florida Gators. I think I've made that pretty evident throughout my time here. So it's an awesome opportunity. You know, it's a great team, obviously a great program, very storied rivalry, very storied team that we're playing. And so I just can't wait to get in Death Valley, you know, and feel that environment. It's going to be pretty exciting.
Linebacker Whit Weeks.
The players that they have, I mean, they got talent at receiver. Their offensive line is huge and fast. Like it's going to be a battle for sure. I mean, we know what happened to them last week, so they're only going to come into this game 10 times more hungry. So we know what opponent we're about to face.
Safety Jordan Gilbert.
So that's what Coach Blake has put an emphasis on, that nobody could beat us if we keep the ball in front of us. So having us doing what we need to do in between the calls that he called, and understanding that eliminating explosive is a big part of our game as well.
Quarterback Garrett Nussmeier.
You know, every team that we see on tape tends to play us a little differently. So that's been a challenge for us, and that's nothing new. You know, I mean, it was the same way last year. And so it's something that's exciting for me as a quarterback, you know, having to make in-game adjustments and things like that. And Florida's obviously, you know, a very good defense, as I said before, and somebody that's going to challenge us. And so very, very much looking forward to this opportunity.
Talking Tigers. Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
When you can't rely on technology, you can rely on Mountain Cold Refreshment.
Dave's back on.
Coors Light. Choose chill.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $22,500 off MSRP on the brand new 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie with $22,500 off MSRP with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
River Parish Contractors has immediate openings for structural steel shop fabricators. Call or text Big Jake today at 318-547-1000 or go to rpcontractors.com and click on employment. River Parish Contractors. Let's get building.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team colors, team swag, and now your very own website, LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net, powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. This, it's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more.
98.1 Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Keys to the V. Presented by Coors Light. Coors Light. Mountain Cold Refreshment. Choose chill.
And our Bears countdown to kickoff, about 2 hours and 45 minutes left. ESPN Bet at LeBears be your game day headquarters. Bring in Richard Dixon, former LSU Tiger. He'll be with me on the post game tonight as always. Rich, good afternoon.
What's going on, guys?
Well, Clemson lost.
Yep.
So
yeah,
this has kind of been my stock question for the last hour or so. What does this do to your opinion? Does it change your opinion on LSU at all?
Not defensively. I think defensively, this defense flies around. When you watch the film, everything they do is just characteristics of a great defense. I do have more questions about the offense at this point. They struggled to really push the ball downfield in both games. This is going to be a big game for us.
I was saying to Musso after the game that, if you thought that Clemson was good before the season, what do you think of Clemson now? So I'll ask you the same question. If it hasn't changed your opinion of LSU, has it changed your opinion of Clemson? It matters to LSU. I'm not going to say it's everything, but it matters a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think Clemson is as dominant as we thought that they would be. I've watched them for 3 weeks. That offense, hasn't really got things going. Georgia Tech has a good team, but I think Georgia Tech really beat them up today.
Yeah. Maybe Georgia Tech's good. I know they're good.
They were last year.
Maybe they're even better than we think. All right. If you haven't seen the film study that Richard and I do on Tuesday night, you really should. It's some pretty cool stuff in there. You can get on YouTube on the Handycast. Look for film study. Rich, when we looked at this, we were impressed a little bit with some of the concepts. I know that Joe Sloan kind of got, a little bit this week about, it was vanilla. It's not the running attack is not very creative. But we saw some creative concepts on film that they were able to exploit. Explain that as best you can, some of the things that we saw on film in regards to LSU's run game.
They're getting to the run game in a non-traditional form. I can agree with the traditional run game is a little bit bland. But when you go back and watch the film, the way they're getting to some formations, you got different looks that they're getting the receivers involved in, some misdirection, some counter flow. But the way they're doing it with the wide receivers is really creative. And I think that the blocking in these situations is good.
You think that Xavier Thomas right now may be their best rushing option. What do you think they can do differently moving forward to continue to keep getting him involved where he's not a traditional tailback? He's really a wide receiver.
Yeah, I just think that he's got the best vision out of all of our running backs. He is, to me, like I said yesterday, I think he's probably the best running back on the team. Feed him. I think he's the guy that gets better as he gets more touches. He's elusive with the ball in his hand. He doesn't go down on contact very easy. He's a guy that needs to be featured.
Let's get into your wheelhouse now, the tight ends. LSU has favored some 12 and 13 personnel here in the first 2 weeks with 2 and even 3 tight ends on the field. Now, they're going to be without Trey'Dez Green tonight almost certainly, but this may open the door for some playing time for Donovan Green, the big physical tight end that they got out of the transfer portal from Texas A&M. First question is, do you think that LSU will do less of the 12 and 13? And the second part is, if you don't, how might Donovan Green help?
Go back to what we just talked about. Some of the most creative run plays we've had is when we put Donovan Green in the game. He's a guy that can block downfield. He's athletic. He's a bigger body. I think he's going to be a guy that's typically on the field when we're going to try to run the ball. I think that we'll still see a good bit of 12 personnel. I doubt we see as much 13. It just, Trey'Dez is a different type of player that allows you to get in that 13 personnel.
Donovan Green, if you haven't noticed him yet, big, about 250-pound tight end who was known more for his blocking at A&M than he was as a receiver. But I'll just bet if you start feeding that running game and you keep him in the game, and then all of a sudden in the fourth quarter you throw him a pass, shock the hell out of everybody because he can catch the ball. We saw him do that a little bit at Texas A&M. All right, Rich, on the other side, man, there wasn't a whole lot. When you came in with the run sheet on Tuesday, you were like, there just weren't very many defensive plays to put in here that, were anything other than pretty close to perfect. So if you're Blake Baker and you got that game film to show your guys and they did everything right, or just about everything right, save the one play with the missed time blitz, what do you say? Okay, guys, go out there and do it again, I guess.
Rinse and repeat. Let's just do it again. Let's go out there and keep the same performance going.
Florida is a special game for you and for Matt and for Jacob. Florida, when you guys were in school, was the best team in the conference that you guys would play against. And you had some epic games. That 2007 game was one for the books, one of the best ever in Tiger Stadium. So what are you expecting tonight? And LSU may not see the Gators for a couple of years. It's possible. We don't know that. But I don't think we're going to see LSU and Florida play every year anymore when the schedule comes out in December. So tell me what you're expecting tonight.
Let's take the career. I mean, let's take the lead. I think I saw earlier in the week we're 35-35, dead even in the series, or 35-35 and 3 ties. Let's go ahead and take the lead before we take a break from playing them. But, this is a big game. I think, this game, when they beat us last year, kind of derailed the momentum we were trying to get going. So I think there's a little bit of a payback in the fact that, they beat you when they shouldn't have last year. You dominated that game. You let one slip away. Let's go get some payback on them. And, support your guys like Jack Pyburn and Jackson, the 2 guys that came over from Florida.
All right, Rich, we'll see you 90 minutes after the game for post-game back in the studio. Enjoy the evening, my friend.
Yes, sir. See you in a little bit.
All right, we're here at Rouse's. Let Rouse's cover your game day spread with beer, wine, and spirits, the Chop House, the Fresh Bakery, the Mongolian Grill, the Chef's Connection, and all the ice you'll ever need. Get your tailgating spread covered here at Rouse's, Burbank and Lee, just a very short drive over to Tiger Stadium. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
I'm Gabrielle McLeod on behalf of the Louisiana Propane Dealers. I have spent hundreds of hours preparing for scholarship competitions. That preparation paid off when I won the Fitness and Talent Awards along with the title of Miss Louisiana. The Louisiana Propane Dealers are also pretty talented and want you to be prepared for when the power goes out. Visit louisianapropane.com to find out about propane generators and other safety tips. Louisiana Propane, it truly is the fuel for our future.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded
98.1.
Family owned, fully involved, always on site. Start your build at wesleyusa.com or follow us on LinkedIn.
Eagle 98.1 WDGL and AC1 Baton Rouge. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Inside the stadium. Presented by Louisiana Federal Land Bank. Louisiana Federal Land Bank. Financing all things country.
And we return here, our LeBears countdown to kickoff, about 2 hours and 35 minutes or so from right now here at Rouse's, just about a couple of miles from Tiger Stadium. Let ESPN Bet that LeBears Casino be your game day headquarters, and we bring in the voice of the Tigers, Chris Blair. Chris, we do this when teams like Florida come into town. We go through the checklist of what it takes for one of those nights in Tiger Stadium where the stadium's just electric. Okay, is LSU good? Yes. Is the opponent a worthy opponent and somebody that gets the juice flowing? Yes. Is the weather good? Yes. So looking forward to this one tonight in Tiger Stadium.
You took the words right out of my mouth, Charlie. I mean,
These two teams have played every year since 1971. Who knows when we go to a new scheduling format next year if this rivalry will continue every year, obviously. But this is what it's supposed to be. I mean, campus is absolutely on 11 right now. And this is what it should be. LSU and Florida under the lights at Tiger Stadium. And everybody looks like they were ready to go pretty early today.
Chris, remind me your memories of last year's game. It was one that LSU had on the yardstick, but not on the scoreboard. And Florida kind of got one from them. What do you remember about last year's game?
You know, it's funny, Charlie. I actually, a couple of times this week, was talking about what I was most concerned with coming off the 23-7 win over Louisiana Tech. And I said, you know, the defense from Florida, yeah, they lost to South Florida. They played Long Island in a scheduling last minute. I get it. But defensively, through 6 games, going back to that LSU game last year, they've given up 1 rushing touchdown and about 2.9 yards per carry on the ground. And when I think about last year's game, I think about missed opportunities when the opportunities were there offensively for LSU. Now, some would say tip your cap to Florida, but again, LSU tore up the grass between the 15s. So that's my biggest concern is, do I think LSU is going to throw everything out against Louisiana Tech? I mean, Coach Kelly laughed when we talked about it on Thursday. He said, no, we're just not going to do that. However, the fact that you had pretty much your starters on offense throughout most of that game, not that it was in doubt, but that's my big concern, because I think with all the noise around Coach Napier and Florida, this was going to be their year, and maybe it's not. This defense is pretty salty.
And, Chris, in addition to that, last week LSU had these problems finishing off drives. Again, a 13-play, 85-yard drive last week that ended up in a field goal, on 11-play, 4.5-minute drive that resulted in a field goal, a 7-play drive that started at the 9-yard line. They couldn't get out there. They had a 1st and goal at the 3, and they ended up with a field goal in that drive. So at least in last week's game, that was a problem for LSU. Again, was scoring after, and look, La Tech's punter had a great night. He pinned them back 4 times inside the 20, but that was a problem last week for LSU, was scoring when they had long drives. They just couldn't finish them.
Yeah, and I think that's the big concern, and Coach Kelly said as much, Charlie, on Thursday night. He said, look, if Ron Roberts has his way for this Florida defense, they're coming in and they're going to shut down the run. They want to shut down the run. And it's not as if they stack the box and shut down the run. They still do a pretty good job of keeping everything 15 to 20 yards from the line of scrimmage and in. They don't let a lot of people get behind them defensively through the air. And Coach Kelly said, look, there's 2 things we got to do offensively. One is we got to be able to run the football, because that's going to open things up, and it's going to make Florida change a little bit and maybe start putting more people up in the box. And we've got to be able to get the vertical passing game going. I think that's his 2 biggest concerns against this defense. And again, didn't see a whole lot of that against Clemson, although I think the game plan was more of a, hey, let's get rid of the ball quick, let's get our guys in space, let's make a move, against mostly zone coverage for most of that night by Clemson. Last week it was, again, I don't know how much you judge it, but they're going to have to do it, I think, today, both run the ball effectively and often, as well as be able to take some shots down the field. Now, and I will say, you feel a little bit better about last week's game, Charlie. I'm sure you guys broke down the film. There were some plays where LSU was going for the chunk pass play, and Louisiana Tech just got beat and said, well, we're just going to pull the guy to the ground. So even though the completions weren't quite what you want them to be, there was also reasons for that.
Chris, in all your prep here for this game this week, and I know it's only 2 games for Florida, but in your prep and your conversations with others around the Florida program, is there anything that has kind of stood out to you where you're like, oh, that's different with this Gators team from last year? I mean, good or bad?
I mean, I think it's amazing that their wide receiver production has been pretty good. And again, as you said, it's a sample size against Long Island. They didn't, perform too well against South Florida. And again, we're all finding out South Florida is a pretty good team. But I think the fact that they lost somewhere in the neighborhood of 60-some% of their pass receiving production to 2 guys last year, and they've already thrown to 16 different receivers, tells me Lagway is going to rely on his arm. And again, he's not a true dual-threat quarterback, on top of the fact that I don't know how close to 100% he is health-wise. He's battled injury all offseason and is kind of just getting into the groove for this year at quarterback. But I think the fact that they've still relied on his arm and, again, have been hit multiple targets stands out. And then I think just defensively, as well as they played, as I said, over the last 6 games. And, oh, by the way, they're just now getting Caleb Banks back, who hadn't played this season after suffering that lower leg injury in fall camp. So, I mean, it's a really good defense. And I think that's what Coach Napier and his team, with all the noise and everything that's being said, I think they come in here to this game saying, guys, we've got to shut down LSU's offense. We can't let them run, and just try to keep this close and maybe get a crazy play. Lagway breaks, contain and launches one downfield. I think there's going to be pressure at every point of this LSU defense tonight. Up front, linebacker play, and certainly on the back end.
Chris, earlier today, Georgia Tech beat Clemson on a 55-yard field goal on the last play of the game. Fair or not, LSU is going to be judged a little bit right now because basically until they play Florida tonight, Clemson is their resume. Did that game give you any pause at all? What were your thoughts when you found out, I don't know if you watched the game or not, that Clemson had lost today?
Yeah, I watched the entire thing, and the first thing I thought of was, for the 3rd straight week, I don't see a lot of physicality from a so-called defense that is dripping with, first-round talent for Clemson. I just looked like Georgia Tech just pushed them around, really on both sides of the football, but certainly defensively. Georgia Tech looked like more of the physical team, more of the aggressor. Their defense was nasty. I mean, they were knocking Clemson silly. And I thought, we kind of talked about the front 7 for Clemson being maybe the toughest LSU would face this year. I'm not so sure about that.
All right, Chris, at the bottom of the hour, we'll hand it over to you guys. What's coming up on Network Pregame?
Yeah, we're looking forward to having Tanya Johnson. How about your LSU volleyball team, guys? Off to a 5-2 start. Had a pretty good win on the road against Notre Dame earlier this week in 3 straight sets. So they've turned the corner. They're going to play Southeastern tomorrow here at the PMAC. And Tanya Johnson's going to stop by and visit with the guys and kind of talk about that. And then, of course, there'll be a breakdown from a Florida beat writer on, what it's been like for Florida this week. I got to believe they come into this game again. What everybody's against them. It's Florida against the world.
Yeah. One more thing before we let you go, Chris. Last week I asked you what fans could expect to see new. They always do some things at Tiger Stadium in the offseason. Well, tonight I know what they're going to do. They're going to put the number one of the very best to ever play at LSU, Charles Alexander's numbers going up on the wall, and it's going to stay there forever. That's going to be really something to see, because he was, man, well, you talk about one of the best to ever do it in the purple and gold. So that'll be another special thing that we see tonight.
No doubt about it. I mean, we're going to have the Our Lady of the Lake Health LED light show that I thought went well last year, and that went over Ole Miss. You got the gold game, and as you said, the big Alexander the Great. Still amazing to me that, as many years ago as he played, still 3rd all-time in career rushing yards and touchdowns for LSU. And I think we all can agree there have been some pretty good running backs to follow Big Charles, that he's still that high on the list. And, it's funny. Coach Kelly said it Thursday night. He said, man, LSU's stingy with who they honor. And Charles Alexander long overdue to be up there. So maybe he's going to try to speed this process up.
Chris, we appreciate it. Have a good call, and we'll talk to you next week when LSU's playing Southeastern.
You got it, guys. Go Tigers.
All right. As we continue here at Rouse's, they want to cover your spread here on all of your tailgating needs right here, just a short drive off of the campus. We'll come back. We'll get you up to date on everything that is going on in college football. They're nearing the half in Knoxville. We'll let you get you up to date on that when we return. Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. And when you're cooking with clean, affordable propane, you're cooking with gas. In the wintertime, nothing heats a home like Louisiana propane. And when you need hot water, propane's got you covered. Oh, and you won't regret that propane generator when the power goes out. I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and to find more information and to find a propane dealer near you, visit louisianapropane.com.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Businesses like yours are the soul of our community. You deserve someone who'll deliver the internet services you deserve. That's why local businesses rely on Rev Business, 90 years of building connections. Visit us at letsrev.biz.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart...
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. The Robinson Brothers Ford Lincoln College Football Scoreboard. Robinson Brothers Ford Lincoln on airline under the giant American flag.
We started in Knoxville, where things have slowed down just a touch after a blistering start. 21-14, Tennessee leads Georgia. Minute 47 to go to the break, and Georgia playing 4th and goal on the Tennessee 2-yard line. We'll circle back around to this at the end of the scoreboard and let you know what happened there. But right now, Tennessee holding a 7-point lead. Other games in progress. Games in the fourth quarter. Ball State leads New Hampshire 34-29. Delaware leads UConn 28-24. That's in the third quarter. Going to halftime, Penn State, number 2 in the country, leads Villanova 21-0. A couple of games delayed, Oregon State and Texas Tech, USC and Purdue. Neither one of those has started. Halftime scores, Rutgers leads Norfolk State 26-3. Michigan State leads Youngstown State 17-10. North Texas leads Washington State 42-3.
Yeah.
At half.
Wow.
North Texas leads Washington State 42-3 at the half. Where have you gone, John Mateer? All right.
Norman.
Yeah. Also at halftime, SMU leads Missouri State 14-10. They are 8 seconds away from half at the backyard brawl. West Virginia leads Pitt 7-3. Eli Holstein's had a rough day for the Panthers. Threw an interception in the end zone. Generally been off target for most of the day for West Virginia. Ty Edwards has run for 77 yards and a touchdown. 7-3, just a little bit before the break.
Roughing the passer on Pitt.
Oh,
So
they're gonna get another play.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and that's a good call too. That's
And then
helmet to
Georgia.
helmet. Georgia decided to kick the field goal, so 21-17, minute 42 to go to the break. Tennessee will get the ball back. They have one timeout remaining. Other halftime scores. Cincinnati says, "What are you doing, North Texas? We can do better than that." They lead Northwestern State 56-0. North Carolina leads Richmond 20-3. They're just out of the break there at Chapel Hill. UTSA leads Incarnate Word 24-0. Toledo leads Morgan State 46-0. That's the half. What is it with these halftime scores?
You said Haney is going to be blowout Saturday.
This has been blowout Saturday for the most part.
Let's hope that continues tonight.
Just about everywhere. Yeah.
For the team in purple and gold.
Of course.
Let me clarify.
I knew what you meant. Number 14, Iowa State leads Arkansas State 9-3. 5 minutes to go to the break there. Number 7, Texas leads UTEP 7-0. That's in the second quarter. Arch Manning 4 for 8 with an interception. Number 5, Miami leads number 18, South Florida, 14-3 after 1 quarter of play. Carson Beck, sharp early, 8 of his first 10, throwing a couple of touchdown passes. Bowling Green leads Liberty 3-0 as we move to first quarter. Scores in Nevada and Middle Tennessee are scoreless in the first. 5 o'clock kick about 45 minutes away for Alcorn State and Mississippi State. Florida Atlantic and Florida International. 6 o'clock kick for Ohio and number 1 Ohio State. Also a 6 o'clock kick for Arkansas, number 17 Ole Miss. Austin Simmons appears it will not start in this game for Ole Miss tonight. Virginia Tech needs a win. They've started out 0-2. They host Old Dominion at 6 o'clock tonight. And at 6:30 on NBC, number 16 Texas A&M is at number 8 Notre Dame. Also tonight, 6:45 Vanderbilt at number 11 South Carolina. That's an SEC network game. Both teams are off to a 2-0 start. They are in their SEC openers. Duke is at Tulane tonight, 7 o'clock at Yeoman Stadium. That is the return of Darian Mensah. Tulane's starting quarterback a year ago is now at Duke. 7 o'clock kick for Navy at Tulsa. Akron at UAB. Akron hadn't scored a point in 2 weeks. Air Force and Utah State at 8:45. Southern University at Fresno State. Late kick, 9 o'clock local time. Minnesota is at Cal, and Boston College is at Stanford. Texas State at Arizona State in the late game is Portland State and Hawaii. Earlier finals today. Number 4 Oregon beat Northwestern 34-14. It was a slow day for Oregon by their standards. Dante Moore threw a touchdown pass, but Oregon's got their eyes on a bigger prize. They play Penn State next week. Georgia Tech beat number 12 Clemson, as we told you in the previous segment, 24-21, 55-yard field goal on the final play of the game, the margin of victory for Georgia Tech. Haynes King threw for 211 yards, ran for 103 yards, and a touchdown. Number 13 Oklahoma looked strong on the road. They were at Temple. They won 42-3. John Mateer threw for 282 yards and a touchdown. Number 19 Alabama beat Wisconsin 38-14. Ty Simpson threw for 382 and 4 touchdowns. Wisconsin's starting quarterback missed that game. Number 23 Michigan beat Central Michigan 63-3. Bryce Underwood threw for 235 and a score. He ran for 114 and 2 touchdowns. Number 24 Auburn goes to 3-0. They beat South Alabama 31-15. Jeremiah Cobb ran for 119 yards and a touchdown for Auburn. Number 25, Missouri went to 3-0. They beat UL Lafayette 52-10. The Penn State transfer, Bo Prabilla, threw for 174 yards and 2 touchdowns. Nebraska beat Houston Christian 59-7. Maryland over Towson 44-17. Virginia beat Bill and Mary 55-16. Baylor over Samford 42-7. Memphis beat Troy 28-7. And Buffalo beat Kent State 31-28, and that is your college football scoreboard. Minute 10 to go to halftime in Knoxville. Tennessee playing a 3rd down and 4 from their own 30-yard line. So we'll keep watching that one right up to the point where we got to go. Joey Aguilar has had a heck of a first half, but he threw that one up into double coverage, and that's going to be intercepted way down the field at the Georgia 30. So the Bulldogs will have some time left to see if they can get a little closer or take the lead. A minute 2 to go. They've got a timeout left and the ball right about their own 30-yard line. We'll take a break here at Rouse's. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and First American Bank and Trust bring you the Heart of the Game Award, recognizing student athletes who deliver when it counts. Nominate your game day standout at 1045ESPN.com by the 21st. We'll choose 5 male and 5 female finalists, and then it's up to the fans to vote for the winners. Each winner gets a $250 gift card, a custom award, and the spotlight they've earned. Presented by First American Bank and Trust, a banking tradition since 1910.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
River Parish Contractors has immediate openings for structural steel shop fabricators. Call or text Big Jake today at 318-547-1000. or go to rpcontractors.com and click on employment. River Parish Contractors. Let's get building.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. Propane water heaters are very cost efficient, and the savings are even greater with a tankless propane water heater. We all know that Louisiana propane is a safe and environmentally friendly fuel. So why not go green while you save some green? I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and for more information, visit louisianapropane.com.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp 98.1.
Watching the end of the first half here, Tennessee and Georgia. Gunnar Stockton threw one ball that could have been picked, threw one ball that should have been picked, and then threw one ball that was picked with 8 seconds to go, but there's a flag on the play.
I think that might be illegal touching.
Yeah, they looked like the receiver went out of bounds and then came back. 8 seconds to go. We're likely going to hold on this score, 21-17. All right, Musso, we got a minute here. I'm going to ask you the same question I've asked everybody else today, which we've gotten various responses from Matt, from Jimmy, from Chris, from Richard about what Clemson's loss, how does it affect your thinking where LSU is concerned?
I would go with a little bit. It changes it a little bit. Not from a defensive standpoint, not totally from an offensive standpoint, but a little bit there, because LSU did have some chances in that game, and they just couldn't quite get over the hump a little bit offensively. They did have one touchdown just egregiously taken off the board, but we don't need to revisit that. I'm going to go with a little bit, but it's even more or less about Clemson and more. I'm still just not there with the LSU offense, but I will say a little bit because people are going to look at that right now and go, well, that's their signature win, and they played awful for a half against Troy, and they weren't in control really at all in that Georgia Tech game and then lost. So I guess what I should say is it changed my opinion of Clemson than LSU, but I would say a little bit for LSU.
Yeah, so here's what it does for me, because we're going to be able to judge LSU after this Florida game a lot more closely, and so we'll have time to do with them. My thought is, what does it change? The Clemson victory is not going to hurt LSU. Should this come up? The only way this really comes up is if LSU's on the borderline for the playoffs, okay? So my thought is that this victory is not going to hurt LSU ever under any circumstances, no matter how Clemson finishes. But it's not going to be the big hammer that I thought it would be. I thought this would hold up as a top 5 win in college football this year, beating Clemson at home, and I no longer think that. At least not for now. I mean, if they get to 10-2, maybe we'll talk about it. But I thought that this would stand up as one of the biggest wins in the sport this year, and I don't think that anymore after today.
Yeah, no, I don't either, and I'm shocked by that. I mean, you looked at Clemson's schedule after. Hanny, we sat here on game day leading into that and talked about kind of who needed the game more, and it's like, well, LSU probably because they have more landmines on their schedule than a team like Clemson does. I mean, Clemson's next 3 are Syracuse, North Carolina, Boston College. They don't play a ranked team again until Florida State, and that's in November. So, I mean, they can right the ship here, Clemson, but nothing's going to be impressive from them.
They still have,
They don't have a signature win.
But they have a clearer path to the conference championship. because I can get them to 7-1. Now, if they win when they get there, who knows? But I can get them to 7-1. But before today, I thought I could get them to 11-1. So maybe I'm completely wrong. The other part of this equation is maybe Georgia Tech's pretty good. They went on the road and beat Colorado. They came home and they went toe-to-toe with Clemson. This game was every bit as close as the score indicated. The yardstick was very close. I know that Clemson had an awful turnover, but so did Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech turned the ball over. It's not going to show up in the box score because they turned it over on downs, but that was goal to go from the 3-yard line. They turned it over on downs. That's another turnover. This was a completely even game, and the kid from Georgia Tech hits a 55-yard smoker at the gun to win this thing. So if they play 10 times, I think they split them probably with the home team winning all of them. So maybe Georgia Tech's really good, but it's still going to ding Clemson. And it's going to, unless LSU blows the doors off tonight, you're going to hear a lot of this week, which is, well, LSU's win over Clemson doesn't look as good anymore, because it doesn't. That may not mean a doggone thing when we get to the end of November, but today you're going to have to deal with that a little bit.
For sure.
I think.
Well, I mean, yeah, 100%.
They go to the break 21-17 Tennessee. Tennessee came out like they expected to score 100 points today. Things have calmed down a little bit. Both of these quarterbacks have made some ill-advised throws and some big plays in this first half. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm just blown away by Joey Aguilar, man. I could have seen a world actually where maybe the points were a little bit more at a premium just because this is the best defense that he has ever faced. And he has come out just guns a-blazing. Gunnar Stockton showed me a little bit as well. That last drive for him was just really poor throwing the football, but it was the one right before half. I'm more impressed with Joey Aguilar than anything else in this football game right now.
Here's another stat I want to run by you when we got just about a minute to go here. Texas is leading UTEP 7-0. There's 4 minutes to go in the first half in Austin, okay? UTEP hasn't won a bowl game since before I was born, if you want to know how good and I'm old.
Go Miners.
If you want to know about UTEP's program, here's the number I want to run by you. Arch Manning is 4 of 12 for 58 yards and an interception.
It's not good.
4 of 12 for 58 yards and an interception. Steve Sarkisian, who is not the easiest person in the world to like, earlier this week made fun of reporters who asked him, is Manning hurt? Because he's making his face like somebody's jamming him in the kidney with an ice pick when he throws a football. And Sarkisian chose to make fun of that and say, no, this is a bunch of hooey. Yeah. I don't think it's a bunch of hooey because either Arch Manning's not good, which I don't think is the case, or he's hurt because he's 4 of 12 against UTEP.
And if he's hurt, why is he out there?
Another very reasonable question. All right, thanks to the folks here at Rouse's. They are always our game day hosts. Come on by for all of your tailgating needs. They will cover your spread for all of your tailgating here at LSU, just a couple of miles off of campus. We'll be back 90 minutes after the end of LSU and Florida. Richard Dixon and I will take your phone calls. For Musso and all of us here at Rouse's, everybody back at the flagship, I'm Charles Hanagriff saying thank you and good afternoon from Rouse's at Burbank and Lee, Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
The following is an exclusive presentation of the LSU Sports Radio Network. It's football time in Louisiana. Tonight, the SEC race begins.